Wait. Hold on here. Is this the barbershop? Is this the barbershop?
Yes, it's
the barbershop.
Yes.
Wait, I mean, we can't talk straight in the barbershop. Then where can we talk straight? We can't talk straight nowhere else. You know, this ain't nothing but healthy conversation. That's all right.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit. A stupid myth, you choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, so do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors of your problems just to savor. I've got my own issues, I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you, just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Shut the fuck up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the Barbershop After Hours, man. I'm glad you guys came over here with us and chilling with us, man. It's good to see you guys back in the building. I see Paris Dunbarton followed us over here. Catelia is in the building. What's going on, Catelia? All right, so we're about to bring the guys back up. We're about to get into some deep conversation because Rogue's son had something to say. Our Pain had something to say. JT came in and shook the boat this today. And our question earlier on our earlier show that we just got off of seconds ago, we asked the question that I'm going to pose to you tonight before I bring the guys up. And that question was simple. Give me a leading black actress who has a classic movie that you watch every time you see it on TV. Because they say they deserve to be making the same money as those actresses, those white actresses. But what movies are they making that's memorable, that they led in, that is worth watching every time you see it? That's a classic to you. Okay? All right, let me bring my guys back up, man. Our Pain back in the building, Rogish back in the building, Coach Furry back in the building. JT will be with us momentarily. He's shaving his legs. But yeah, man, we back in this thing. So Our Pain, I'm gonna while I'm getting this video ready of Corey, because I think I already sent it. Hold on, give me just a minute. Yeah, I did do it already. I'm gonna play this video of Corey Holcomb talking about the chickens coming home to roost. So let me play that real quick. This is Corey Holcomb, ladies and gentlemen. Corey be cooking. They can say what they want to say about Corey. He be cooking.
Easy, boy.
And here we go.
Sisters, the roosters are coming home. Everything you did is finna come back on you because they have people in place, government-wise, to show you we used you to destroy the village. Now we really have no use for you no more. All you women 40, 50, 60, it's over for you.
All of the perks that you got from being the government's mistress, the EBT, the money that he provided you with that you were supposed to get from your men, the housing that he gave you through Section 8 that you were supposed to get from a husband, the child support that he assisted you in so that you could complicate your men's lives so that they would not be strong enough to fix the communities, right? The jobs that they gave you so that you could appear to be superior to your men and so difficult that your men couldn't deal with you and keep families together. It's over with. You destroyed the black community and now they no longer need you. Therefore, they're taking back all of their goodies that they gave you. Ladies, you'll wish to God that your men would accept you back because you won't have the accessories that are required to maintain the quality of life that you've been living by yourself. And when you try to go back to your men, they won't treat you good because they'll remember everything that you did to them, every word that you said about them on the internet, right? And they'll continue to date outside of their race, leaving you to fend for yourself. Because you forced them to start dating outside of their race. You became so unbearable that black men had to seek companionship elsewhere. And it turned out to not be so bad. Look at the Trump administration right now. Ladies, the process has already begun. The government jobs that you brag about, that made you feel like you were superior to your men, the spousal support that incentivized you to so easily leave men and take half of their money, the child support that you utilized to extort your man, piece by piece is being removed from you permanently. You're about to need men more than you ever thought you would just to survive and make ends meet. And the only thing that black men will have is memories of being called Ray Rays, Pookies, and bullet bags.
God damn.
Back to the streets with you.
I'm gonna sleep with a good night kiss and a good night hug.
Back to the streets. That's cold. God damn.
So hey, so what are y'all thoughts? What you saw it?
I mean, it's look, Corey. Years ago, he said with women you have to watch them crash themselves into their beliefs.
You low, turn your volume a little bit, Rogish. I can't hear you.
I said back in the day, Corey said with women you have to watch them crash you can't help them. You have to watch them crash themselves into their beliefs. He said this shit back when he was on, you know what I'm saying? You know, 5150 was like 3,000 people, whatever. It's like, yo, this nigga is the truth. The thing is, you can't logic black women into a rightful way of approaching how they see their positioning with all this. It's more about what the gain is, and if the gain is already worth it, then it's more like you don't have to step across the bodies in the street. That's why I say feminism is the coldest form of pimp in the history of all existence, because it has them to distort the very thing outside of the energy that they need it to be in order to create what they say they want to create, family and, you know what I'm saying, legacy and all that. I mean, it is what it is. It seems like the programming is running out, and you know, it's not going to be a return to it.
Hey, so y'all, everybody saw the video?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, y'all? It's open conversation,
Yeah,
guys.
listen, I've known about the 106. We just got to put it in perspective, right? Because black women would have you think that they were targeted. The truth of the matter is that the kind of degrees they get and the kind of jobs they got will make you think that DEI is the reason why they're getting fired. The truth of the matter is they put themselves in low-hanging fruit positions that were going to be the first to go anyway.
Yes, sir.
For example, if you have a government organization with the title diversity on it, well, those organizations no longer exist under the Trump administration, so you're going to get fired. You know, they're not going to. Your job is going to be eliminated. That's what happened to them. You know, and so when you hear the narrative that white women benefited from DEI more than anybody else, well, that's still true, right? Because people say, well, only black women are getting fired. Well, that's not only black women, because in the Department of Defense, in the government, federal government, thousands and thousands of people, even with the 100,000 black women, the majority of people who got fired are white women. But the truth of the matter, DEI favored white women, but they didn't have those low-hanging fruit jobs. They got into the positions of management. They got into positions of where those jobs weren't being eliminated because they didn't go to the DEI office. They didn't go to the human resource office. They went to corporate offices. So that's why they were protected. So the vast majority of black women who got laid off, mostly those were federal government jobs. And because they were in organizations that are no longer needed. And that's why they scooped so much of them up, because they were, with all the fancy degrees and all this horseshit they talk about, they didn't get, they went for low-hanging fruit. And those are the first jobs to go. That's my theory. Well, it's not even a theory. That's what happened to them. That's exactly what happened. Right. So, and there's millions of black women. So the 106,000, just to change the percentage from 5% to 6%. So let's not go crazy, because there's still a whole bunch of black women still working. It's a bad statistics in the fact that the job market numbers are getting better, but it didn't get better for them because of where they position themselves. And that's where it's at. And as far as the rest of the stuff that Corey's talking about, the chickens are coming home to roost. And here's the thing, that black men who are on their square, and I'm only saying this because a lot of black men are going to fall for it. I wouldn't fall for the bullshit for all these women who would step over your dead carcass when they think they were on top. Now they want to talk to you. Now they want to give you a shot. But they were doing the damn Allen Iverson step over the Tyronn Lue thing. So now they want to stop and help you up. You know what I'm saying? Shit, they don't fall for the okie doke. And let me just I'll land it there.
What up, Loss?
What's going on, Loss?
Hey, yo, what's going on?
Man, I believe what Corey had to say, man. I think that Corey is on to something. Corey, he's been talking about this for years. Yeah. So this ain't nothing new for Corey. The chickens are coming home to roost. When you think that you the shit, and sometimes men have helped these women get to where they are. And that's the thing about a man. When a man get extra money, he wants to do for his family. When a woman get extra money, she want to do for herself.
Period. That's true. There's no lie.
That's the absolute truth. I'm making more money,
mama, right? She learned that
from mama, then right? You go from one account, and then they're saying, "Oh, we need to split everything now." I think you pay half the bills, I pay half the bills, maybe, and we just split money. That's what women are doing now. I'm telling you, I know a couple right now. I'm not gonna say their name because they was on my network before, but I know a couple right now.
So what would you say the family is being?
What's going on?
What would you say the family is being measured as value-wise by the woman?
The family by the woman, the woman is for herself.
Period.
Right.
The term "fuck them kids" is a real thing.
Out of curiosity, the term black women being the most educated, where did that come from?
100 watts. I want to say something.
I'm not sure of the understanding of it.
I'm gonna say something. 100 watts. Then I'm gonna let y'all cook. Give me some water. I'm gonna let y'all cook. When they say black women are the most educated, okay, let's give them that just for shit's sake for right now.
Well, check your mic.
Educated, okay. But black women are 80%, almost 80% single homes, right? Single moms, right? So they rank amongst 80% of single moms. Now, those single moms, out of those 80% of single moms, a lot of those women are highly educated women, and their sons are 15 years old reading on a third grade level. They're the highest educated, but their kids are the dumbest.
But I'm trying to figure out highest educated according to what?
But let's be real about that high. Hold on. Yeah, they're not the highest educated. Yeah, they're the highest enrolled. They got the enrollments. Most go Most go to traditional college. 98% of men go to trade school.
Ferg is preaching because see, the thing is this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna talk. I can't help it.
How can you be educating your children now?
We need to start looking at the statistics of how many women, when they leave college, are actually doing it the right way and getting married before they carry. Because there's a video out there, and I hope I find that motherfucker tonight. But there's a video out there where they got all these white girls getting graduating. All the black girls are doing this. Hey, 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 and the white girls are doing this. The white girls are doing this. They're showing all the white girls. A dude went around with the camera showing all the white girls engaged or married while they're getting their diploma.
How are you an educated person and you have uneducated children in the house?
Man, F them kids, bro.
That doesn't make sense, does it?
F them kids. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
hold on, y'all. Hey, Watts, 100 Watts. Hey, check where your sound is coming through, bro. It don't sound like it's coming through your mic. It seems like it's coming through your computer or your camera. Go ahead, fellas.
Yeah,
the answer to your question is neglect.
There you go.
While you out trying to get your degree, you neglected your own kids.
Yep,
there it is. Neglect.
Fuck them kids.
But wait a minute. To be educated and to have intelligence is life. It's lifestyle.
Well,
it's not something that you just do at fucking school, is it?
Well, let's put it this way. We got to level set this thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so because we have a single mama problem, but we also have the highest deletion rate. Those women are actually deleting their kids.
Yeah.
Those women who are in college who think they're gonna have corporate things, they're deleting their kids along the way. So in their 20s, they're having this free sex, but they're deleting their children.
They let white people tell them that it's for health, though. That's the thing.
What I'm saying is that's the real answer. The kids who are low educated, who can't read, are because
what happened?
That's where most of the kids are being born. You know, and so that's it. So that's the only way I can see how we can have both, you know, low birth rate and a whole bunch of baby mamas, because there's a class divide in how they treat pregnancy. That's how I think about it. Because poor people are apt to
that divide comes from feminism, though. But this is the thing. It's like, when are we going to acknowledge the power of feminism if they have these bitches distorted like this?
Well, first of all, there's poor feminists in the class. There's the lower class of feminists and the upper class of feminists. Feminism permeates everything women think about. That's why 92% of the women are liberal and they vote a certain way. They ain't all from the same class, by the way. You know what I'm saying? But they all vote the same way. The educated black woman and the uneducated,
or are
all
they
on the
an
plantation.
accord? Do those classes clash, or are they on an accord?
They clash. They clash when they're not in alignment. And in the other case, well, we don't have to answer. You know the answer to the question. When you get 92% of black women voting for one party, well, they're in alignment.
Yeah, that's an accord.
Yeah.
So going back to what Mr. Holcomb was talking about, the roosters are what is it? The chicken coming home to roost, right?
The chickens are coming home to roost.
The chickens
and
are
the
coming
roosters
home
banging them out. The roosters banging them out as they come through the door.
So from what we are talking about is that we're saying that a lot of us are saying that men are doing a lot better now, right? And women are declining. The craziest part is that, do you guys see that it's going to be more than just a black man and black women? Do you think that it's going to be more of people dating and marrying outside of their racial boundaries, so that they say do you see an increase in that?
It's already
I think you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that's a good question, but I think the truth of the matter is we are. I think there's going to be more interracial marriage. It's on a rise no matter what, regardless of this situation. It is, like I said before, I think that black women in general, not all of them, but enough to make a difference, or have priced themselves out of the market. Right? If you listen to what they talk about, when it talks about when they want to have a man, they want a partner. They want somebody to sign a partnership agreement. You do this, and I do this, and as long as you do your part and I do my part, we could be together. That's why it's so easy for them to leave. But men, on the other hand, I believe men, when they want to get with a woman and only one woman, they want wives.
Yep.
There's a distinguishable difference.
Yep.
And a lot of men miss it. If my wife ever, and she won't do this anyway, but if she ever introduced me to somebody as her partner, I would go right then and there. And when you hear women talk, and if you're on social media, if you listen to women talk, you very rarely ever hear them say they want a husband.
Yep.
They want partners. But that shit means something to them.
Yeah, but women also know how to code switch too. When they're around women, well, what I'm saying is when they're in a group like this, and they're gonna fall in alignment just by default, and they'll go to those words and say partner and all of these things because they understand what's really. I don't believe no woman out here 25 and up is naive to any of this bullshit. Can't nobody tell me. There's no way, because most of them can scheme and scam and they play the long game too. They'll wait till they got you right where they want you, then they'll pull the rug from under your feet quickly, and they'll move on. Listen, now somebody mentioned I'm gonna say some shit about dating outside our race. It's only like 1% difference, like 13 to 12%, right? But that 12% breaks down to the different races and cultures. There's the white, there's Asian, Korean, and Hispanic, all of that. So white marry about 6%, brothers do, and sisters marry about 6%. But then every other race and culture, it just sort of. Then I think it's Filipino or East Asian, somewhere around there. I'm not quite sure which one. But
what is there culturally to be beholden to when people make that type of decision, though? You know what I'm saying? Dating outside your race as if dating, you know what I'm saying, a different culture.
But see, here it is. We in a space where a lot of brothers, they what I've seen and brothers are starting to find. They're starting to like themselves a little better. Yeah. They're starting to recognize that I'm valuable.
And the women of the world are choosing.
But for the last 20 years, you ain't shit. You're broke. You're ugly. Blah, blah, blah. So now as you find yourself, you look over and be like, fuck that shit. Yeah, that's me. That was me. So, but again, salute to the brothers, man, that find themselves, because this is where we are. This is where we are, man. And see, that's what they call me, ugly ass pit bull.
You asked the question, what culture are you beholden to when you make a decision like that? My four walls, my house is my culture. Like somebody that makes a decision like that, they don't give a fuck about what culture you're talking about. They only worried about the four walls that they live in. That's good enough culture to them.
Yeah, because they can.
Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing or a bad thing, though?
To who?
So here's my thinking. Here's my thinking of it. If we all know that doing the same thing, expecting a different result, is insanity. If we know that, how many experiences do you expect a man to have with a particular group of women before he decides this is insanity? If this man is telling you that through middle school he got clowned on, through high school he got dragged on, through college he got played for all his money, when he graduated and now he's at, what would you say, the educated lane? That's 4 different parts of his life where he was just dragged through the mud by the women that he attempted to try and be with. But now, because like Ferg just said, he's figuring out his power. He done got his money together. He done graduated. He probably in shape, got money, all of these things. How many times does he have to, like, why would now be the time when he said, you know what, I'm gonna give another one a shot? Like, why would that be the time?
So I think where we get conflicted at though is he just doing it for himself?
He has to. If he ain't, that's the issue.
Come on now.
Yeah, he has to.
Okay,
he has to
come
do
on
it
now.
for himself.
What do you mean by that,
Yes,
JT? What do you mean by
It's
that?
his house.
Of course.
Great question, Arpain.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean? Because if he's a single man, yeah, of course he's doing it for himself.
Yeah, I mean, so right, but he got to live, and God willing that he lives to be senior citizen, he lives to be 80, 90. Who does he translate that to? Who does he pass that on to?
Whoever go with him along that journey, shit. What
Exactly. Exactly. Whoever's
Whatever
on
chick
the
going, color, it don't matter her color, cuz.
You got time to wait.
Y'all talking about chicks. Y'all talking about chicks. I said 80 something years old. This nigga, what, he gonna be single till he's 80?
No. I
So
thought
wouldn't
you
it
meant,
be?
no, well, let's get it back on. You said who he's going to go with. If he chooses somebody outside of the norm in his race at the young age that he's at, because he's ready, right? Like what 100 is saying, but he's going to go where he's appreciated. Say it's not a person who's black. I don't think it's going to matter if that's the person for him. He's going to make it. He's going to make it.
I wasn't speaking from that, and I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. That's what
I was speaking from who does he. My point is that who does he pass it down to, right? If we talking about a man, and this is where we have the confliction at. If we talking about men are bettering themselves, they're doing all these different things. When it comes down to life, don't he still have to be able to share that with someone, and then he has to translate that down to something that comes from him?
Okay.
Yes,
so, okay. So let's say the answer to that is yes.
That's the only question I was asking.
Let's just say the answer to that is yes. Does it matter to you whether that person is black or not?
No, not to me. No, not at all.
Okay. I guess that's
yeah,
it.
That's what I'm saying.
So if he finds somebody who appreciates him and makes a family, that's who he's going to pass it down to.
Yeah.
Whoever he makes a family with, that's who's going to get the benefits. Let's use one example: Kobe Bryant.
Facts.
He married a Mexican woman, right? A lot of people get on the fact that she's taking that money and she's dispersing it to her.
Nigga, she 100.
You know, outside of the black community, but he doesn't. But does Kobe have an obligation to make sure his millions just go to black people? I don't think so, because I don't believe that. I mean, when people say that, I have problems with that because he married a woman who's a Mexican.
Isn't his community? That's my whole point right there, Arpain. His community, actually, his immediate community is who? His wife and his children.
That's right.
What black community is he supposed to be translating his funds to, or his legacy to, other than his children and his wife?
Umar Johnson will give you a different. Oh, he's a trader, this and that. All that money.
You already know how I feel about him.
Umar is a Pan-Africanist. Umar is not pro-black.
Right.
He's a Pan-Africanist.
He's a fake Pan-Africanist too.
He ain't fake at all. He ain't fake at all. He real with it.
Well, okay,
but he think he pro-black. No, he's more of a Pan-Africanist than he is pro-black.
What makes him authentic when it comes down to Pan-Africanism?
Because
I want to hear this.
What he stands for. I mean,
he don't stand for shit.
The principle that he stands for is Pan-Africanism. Yeah, you can't get mad at that. But my perspective is that
should sound like pansexual.
It seems that he marginalizes the black life perspective to uphold the Pan-African perspective. And that's where I disagree with homie with.
Yeah,
I disagree with all Pan-Africans with.
Yeah. I don't see where he's solid at. I used to think that man was solid, but it was, because he wasn't speaking a whole lot, not like how he is now. He didn't have the exposure that he has now. And now that this man has the exposure that he has right now, he just sounds so contradictive.
He's a fucking celebrity now, though. I mean, that's the thing. It is what the fuck it is. When he first started on Saad Netter's couch and just, spin the reel, that nigga knew what the fuck he was talking about. I didn't know if he was a Pan-Africanist, pro-black, whatever the fuck it was. He just sounded like a black psychiatrist, whatever. If there was a generality that you could put to it, whatever.
That was what I was. Yeah, when I followed him, that was what he was talking about, and he had a little bit of the Pan Africanism and stuff. I didn't know anything about it at the time, but you know, the more and more that I've learned, and the more and more that I know about this guy, it's hard to take him serious. That's the only thing I can say. Now when you start talking about when you talk about the mental capacity of it and things that he was talking to when it came down to young black boys specifically, I understood it. I understood exactly what he was saying. Once he started adding all this other stuff to it, and it just got me to a point where I was just like, damn, it's hard to listen to this dude.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Most definitely. But to go back to what Watts was just saying, as far as, because how old are you, Watts?
33.
Okay, you're 33. You right there. You married?
Divorce.
Oh, okay. Plan on getting married again?
Yes. Like very
No. Like I kind of figured that was going to be the answer, because 33-year-olds are not thinking marriage like that anymore. They're thinking, getting themselves together, making sure that they stay solid. Yeah, shit like that.
Season, baby.
So,
hold on, Arpain. Getting back to the topic itself, man, about this 106,000. That was just for 1 month. Since February, it was 300 and something thousand. Damn. Losing their job. I mean, they're playing the number down. See, my whole thing is this: they lose the numbers, man. But come to find out, it's more like 300,000. And that's the number they really should say. You see what I'm saying? Because they're not hiring these people back. And what people don't realize is that this is a little bit more nuanced than you think it is. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
The way that this thing was set up is that women did this stuff to themselves, And I'm going to tell you why. I remember a specific show that Kevin did where he was telling this lady, why not smile? You know what I mean? Y'all walk around with this rest and be face. And then all of a sudden, why do y'all make me want to smile and this, that, and the other? Well, imagine if they did that in corporate America in mass. And then all of a sudden, we have a downturn in the economy. And they're going to say, hey, you know what? We got to let some people go. Who you think they're going to let go first? Somebody with a bad attitude. That's the ones they're going to let go first. And since our sisters can't be, can't tell them nothing from time to time. And they ish, all of a sudden in mass, HR was like, Shaquita, could you come into the office for a moment? Not performance or anything like that. We just want to let you know that we decided to let you go along with others, due to the economic downturn, blah, 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 blah. Y'all know how HR speak is. And the next thing you know, they all on the internet with boxes crying, talking about they got rid of me. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, they got all on the internet with boxes talking about that and got fired. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, I see what's going on now. And my whole thing is this: all they had to do was damn smile, man. But you can't tell them nothing. And the sad part about it is, Arpain, to be honest, our women don't know how to take a damn L, man. You know what? Here's my thing. I love that about them. It's the tenacity in them. It's what makes them spicy. You know what I'm saying? They come from us. They strong. We love that. But sometimes
they can't control their power like they need to on the X-Men side of the game. They that motherfucking powerful. They got the X gene. You need to let me be motherfucking Professor X in your life, bitch. That's what
right. But here's my whole thing about that. They don't know when to quit. They don't know when to take an L, man. Let me tell you, yesterday I was flipping through the channels, man, and I saw this young chick. She had to be maybe about 30, 40 or whatever. And she was still with that same Kendra G rhetoric. Talking about, are you having a girl or are you having a deletion? All that old foolishness. I'm like, y'all really don't understand how big of an L you just took. Because think about it. When they start running the numbers back and they were saying, well, black men money went up. Then I'm talking about black women's jobs went down. Like nobody else's stuff moved. What is different between the 92%, as they like to call themselves, than everybody else? You know what I'm saying? It's political. It's the unhitching of the LGBTQ from our community. Because if you notice, a lot of these corporations have decoupled themselves in the light of the DEI business. They're decoupling themselves from the LGBTQ rainbow action, you know what I'm saying, network. And all of a sudden, now it's getting quiet. You ain't seeing them in the streets, all on the internet with this foolishness. You know why? Because it's kind of hard to doggone talk that talk when your internet turned off, when you ain't got no job no more. You know, that's what happens when your revolution has been subsidized. And that's the main reason why a lot of these folks have chickens have come home to roost, but they don't realize it. And that's the problem. But my thing is,
would it be an automation? Would it be an automation?
Let me tell you something. AI was good. The AI ain't that damn good. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
because it's still brothers that's working. You know,
it doesn't have to be AI at this point.
Right.
Because it's automation doesn't mean that it's being controlled by you know what I'm saying, I guess an outer command.
It's not AI right now.
Right.
It's not AI, but it is automation though.
It is what it is. You know,
because the thing is, if you said that they were at the lower tier levels of, you know what I'm saying, the low fruit,
I'm gonna tell you what they were.
Or whatever.
They were let me explain to you what they were at. They had these government jobs. And if you ever see somebody with a government job, these people were getting paid 6 figures to just shuffle around papers on desks and order airplane parts and foolishness like that. Well, guess what? When you got somebody like Elon coming through there with a red pen, sitting like, why y'all ordering the same stuff twice? Oh no, why both of y'all doing the same job? Nope, gotta go. Gotta go. On day one, it was a whole bunch of people with doggone brown boxes walking up out of there because somebody found out that 2 and 3 people was doing the same job. And ain't nobody saying nothing about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you don't know how to do the math and you don't know how to read between the lines. All of this stuff will catch up with you. And that's the main reason why I have to come up and explain to people there's about to be a culling unless these people actually get in line and do what they need to do. That's the main reason why I've been trying to pivot people back to families and getting back to religion and getting back to the doggone basics so you can have some structure. Because if you don't fix it with structure and all this other stuff, it's going to go back to being the same. And I'm telling you, J.D. Vance himself got on TV and he was explaining to people, he said, I don't like the hookup culture that we got. The dating culture has gotten to the point where people don't date like they used to no more. You know, everybody's hiding behind the screens, you know, instead of getting out in front of each other, this, that, and the other. Let me tell you something. This administration is the first administration to doggone recognize that the dating situation that we have is a matter of national security. It really is. Because once we start trying to make America great again, bringing all these jobs back, where are they going to get the labor from? The guys are going to be like, it ain't worth it. What am I going to make all this money for when the chicks is acting a fool? Well, guess what? When guys start waking up and say, you know what? I can make this kind of money. I figure out what to do with it later. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they're trying to get to the point where they need to get back and say, hey, look, we need to get families back together because families actually make this thing run. You know, I don't know if y'all have households or whatever. We already know households spend a whole hell of a lot more money than a single person. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably the main reason why a lot of these 92%ers are mad and upset, sitting in sister circles, spinning bowls with wood in it and praying to the doggone Wiccan gods. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they Wiccan now?
What they're supposed to be doing. They
Wiccan now, Carl?
They Wiccan, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Black chicks is Wiccan?
What they doing, man? They Wiccan. Damn. But my whole thing is this, man. They have to make sure that they're going to have to get back in line, buddy. Because the guys have already woken up. They ain't having it.
You can't get back in line once you go that route.
Bills for. It's crazy. But y'all, go ahead, though. I'm just telling you. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
So let me ask you this: when it comes, so with the deterioration that we've seen, do you think we've seen anything that is essential be eroded? Meaning that which you are supposed to have, it can be in the form of a social bond, it can be in the form of a character trait or whatever. Do you think that anything essential has been eroded? And if that's the case, then it'll never go back to what it's supposed to.
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. A lot of the things that people were using to pump themselves up with pride have been taken away. And people like to say Section 8 and all this other stuff, food stamps, blah, blah. I don't think we were using that to the magnitude, but those who were using it, guess what? That ain't gonna be here too much longer. And then on top of that, if your job get took, that's humbling too. Now you got to figure out, what you're gonna do with this student loan debt. If you look at the 92%, they carrying most of the doggone student loan debt. So now they're really not dateable. They've been financially castrated. If I could come up with a term that would accurately fit, think about it. What dude is gonna pick up a chick with $300,000 and $400,000 worth of student loan debt because she got a double master's and don't pay nothing? You know what I'm saying? Who gonna do that?
A double master's ain't paying.
A double master's, man. I'm gonna tell you, our sisters suffer from a psychological damage, and I think it probably needs to be studied, man. Yeah.
Zoe Williams.
Oh, they studying it, brother. They studying
in real time. They need to study it, man.
They studying. Believe me, they studying
or something like that.
Man, how do you take an L like that? Ever since the election, it's just like one L after the next,
But not view them as L's though.
Sure enough.
Man, let me tell you, if you can't do what you used to do, it's a L.
They finding themselves.
Exactly.
No,
it's a manipulation tactic. It's not an L, it's a manipulation tactic, big dog.
Well, tell us about it then, man. Why is it a manipulation tactic?
I'm talking shit. I'm talking shit.
That's what you do, nigga. Talk that shit. What the fuck? That's the barbershop, man. What the hell? Come on, talk that shit.
I done been fired. I done had to quit a job. Okay, cool. Well, welcome to the club. Like it sounds fucked up, but welcome to the club, my nigga. Like,
there
hello.
You go. Put your big girl panties on.
Right.
Okay, so the equality that you was looking for. Imagine how many times a nigga done got fired because I was too aggressive when I talked to a manager. Like, I have been fired because I talked too aggressive to a manager before. Like, what? Welcome to the club.
What I will tell you this though, what's gonna come out of this? If it's done right, entrepreneurship in the Black community should explode. It should explode.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
How's everyone doing?
We got to change what we're selling, but it's going to explode. Go ahead, Ikane.
How's everyone doing?
What's that?
Respect, bro.
Nothing much. Yeah, I got some things to say, but I want you guys to finish talking. When it's my turn, I'll talk.
No, you can go ahead.
Is it my turn? Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Well, number one, you can't talk to your boss anyhow or a manager anyhow. You're gonna get fired for that. You feel me?
No. The perceived aggression.
Right.
Like, I'm not an aggressive dude, but for some reason I have this demeanor where people act a certain way around me professionally sometimes. And because I've become more aware of it as I've gotten older, I've done what I can to maneuver around it. But being like 24, 25, like what you mean I'm being like I didn't understand how it came off.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I used to be like that, and guess what? When I look back, I was aggressive. So you were aggressive.
You don't sound like you ever get aggressive. I was aggressive. Nigga, you don't sound like you ever get aggressive.
Yeah. So the thing is that we never want to admit what we were. But it's good to admit it now that we're older. But the thing is, looking back at it, or looking at what you're saying, I gotta say this: we, as older guys, we have to control ourselves on what we say. When you speak with a lower tone voice but precise, people respect you more and they get more done because they know you mean it. But once you raise your voice, it becomes a problem. It's just like when you're fighting your wife. Like some people will be like, "Oh shit, she's slapping her husband. Why is she putting her hands on her husband?" Something started, and you didn't fix it. So now it's too late. So when a man puts his hands on a woman, harshly or softly, you're giving her the excuse to do whatever she wants to do. So don't ever put your hands on her, but be firm with her. When you want her to do something, be firm with your voice. You don't need to yell, but there are times to yell. Because that yelling... No, I'm heading somewhere.
No hand.
Yeah.
Well, hold up. Wait. No hands. No motherfucking hands. No matter how
No,
much
that's
she
what
could
I'm saying.
potentially be out of pocket,
Yeah.
out of pocket, out of motherfucking pocket. No hands. I ain't saying the
No, that's not.
motherfucking full out. You know what I mean? No, nobody's saying that. But you know what I'm saying, as far as like, how about
I ain't
a
putting my hands on no
genteel
guy.
Tai Chi aspect of submission, if you will. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no, no.
I'm gonna put
Part
your
of the
hands
horse's
on.
You
mane,
can,
quite gentle
no,
with her, and keeping that bitch
yeah,
motherfucking immobilated if need be.
no,
No,
you
the strap
can
on
do.
ass. And keep it moving.
He said a
No,
mobile
you,
lady.
you might be able to do that only when that person has placed a hand on you. You see what I'm saying? Because
Mm-mm.
once you place your hand first, you start inviting some kind of
Of
stupidity.
course. You
You
always
don't
wait
want
for it.
to. But
Man, that's your
beside that,
guy.
let me go to what I was about to say. In terms of, I think it was on this show. I was listening to you guys. I don't remember if it's this show or Lapiv. Exactly what Lost in Translation was saying about black people um, becoming more entrepreneurs, starting their own business.
Already.
Every time I talk to black men in America, I tell them this: the reason why a lot of black men are not doing what they're supposed to do is because of one thing. They're not looking back at their history before here. But it's not a black man's fault because your history was taken away from you. Most black men in America came from the eastern Nigeria.
I can't study
I couldn't.
Nigeria before I study
No,
Detroit, homie.
no. Yeah, no, I understand. But guess what? If you study in Detroit, right, you're only getting about 5% of, or even 2% of where your blood, where your lineage came from. If you let me
Okay.
finish, then you see where I'm heading to. The reason why I said what I said is because there is something in you that you haven't discovered. It's called entrepreneurship. It came down from your ancestors over 300,000 years ago.
I'm from
In the
North Tulsa,
eastern,
cuz.
okay, in the eastern Nigeria, right, almost every black man was an entrepreneur. And when I came here, I see it in the average black American man's life. A lot of black American men have
We have a legacy of
entrepreneurs.
wait a minute, homie. We have a legacy of that here
Sir,
within the United States,
if
dog.
you can let me finish talking, because whenever you cut me off, I lose
No,
track.
Man,
no.
you take
It
all
seemed
that.
like it seemed like you trying to absolve the
Right.
legacy of light that we have here within, you know what I'm saying, United States of these murder claims.
I'm not, that's not what I'm saying. What
All right
I'm
then.
adding to what is being said. I'm
All
not
right.
taking away from what is said. I'm
Right.
adding to it. So
Right.
what I'm adding to is, if you know where you came from, right?
Tulsa.
Do whatever you can to do that entrepreneurship. Because guess what? Your great ancestors did it.
Yeah.
So don't be shy away from it. Go for it. The difference between the average black man and the average white
No,
man is that the black man
you
wants to do business and carry everybody along and succeed. The white man wants to go by himself or his friends due to greed. He wants to be the only one on top and everybody else beneath him. But
Right.
we naturally want to create wealth
Right. We're
for
human.
almost everyone
We're human.
because
That's what
we're
humans do.
human in
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
human in character. They are virtuous. You see what I'm saying? They are
Yeah.
virtuous. They tear everything down to be on top.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that, just to add to what
Kind
translation
of human.
said, let's do it. We can't just be talking anymore. What he's saying is great. I love what he's saying. Black men can own businesses by 99%. We cannot all do the same thing, but we can own different businesses.
So you
Absolutely correct, man. Everybody can't be cutting hair and selling shea butter. You know what I'm saying? Some of us got to program computers. Some of us got to fix cars. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to take out the trash. You know, somebody got to do the dirty work. You know,
well,
that's one of the things I was telling y'all before, man. We are more advanced than y'all think we are. Think about it, man. In the early 1900s, we were some of the most creative inventors, man. We made all kind of stuff. We got patents on all kind of stuff. When did we stop inventing things? You know what I mean? That's who we are. We're creators, man. That's what
we didn't embody that as a culture, and that's the issue. We did that for the sake of, hey, it'll make us appear to be a better American.
Man, our grandparents sold us out for welfare, man.
I don't think that was
it. When my grandmother died in 1976, she left my father and my mother $40,000 cash, cleaning houses. My grandfather lived to be 94. He preached 2 churches. Once that welfare, listen, man, it's all a combination of things, isn't it? Because we're some of the most innovative people on the planet. We created all the shit they trying to do in the Olympics now. We find a way to do it because that's really who we are. And America is afraid to unlock that in young black men.
But black
that
people
is the problem.
Are afraid to unlock that in themselves for fear of giving these pilgrims the willies.
Hold up. But you just said earlier, they've been conditioned and conformed to that way too. So that's why they're afraid. Because that shit is uncomfortable.
Also, you can see people try to mimic every fucking thing that you do. Those are glitches in the matrix to me, cuz, for real. You know
I'm with you, man, but we.
You know what I mean? He's just like, I'm gonna rethink what just happened when I see these glitches.
You know what? Let me explain something to y'all, fellas. The real wealthy people, they don't get out and they beat their chest. They work together. Think about it. When you think about real wealth in this country, they do it by families. They build huge families. Think about when you hear Walton, what you think about Walmarts. They talk about the Vanderbilts. They talk about all these other people who have empires. They work together. That's the main reason why you do it, man. That's how you create wealth. When you start pooling your resources together and everybody started coming together and DuPonts and all the rest of these other people, that's how you do it. We've been doing it the opposite way. We want to sit up here and have one person make it out the hood. Yeah, LeBron, he sure made it. Look at him. He the GOAT or whatever. He the GOAT by himself. You know? If you go to other cultures, man, like the Waltons, hell, everybody the damn GOAT. Everybody get paid. Everybody is a part of the family. You see what I'm saying? That's what we get back to. That's where our strength is. That's how they attacked us, and that's how we went down. If you look at it, the way they separated us, it was masterful. You know, they'll sit up there and they took it by force by the men and say, hey, you know, we're gonna move y'all steel jobs up out of here. You know what I'm saying?
To be able to enterprise with family, though.
Exactly.
The thing is that is the social factor that's broken within black people, and that was broken well before the emancipation. You feel me?
Right.
As far as enterprising with family.
I don't know, man. It's hard.
But here's the thing. Now, he ain't through yet. But here's the thing. When we did have our own stuff, they would actually drown our cities, you know, build dams and flood them out, or do what they did at the Pentagon, and they mowed out one of our own thriving communities and put the Pentagon on top of it. Y'all look that up and see that's a real thing. And also in Seneca Park in New York too. Anywhere where we actually had where we were thriving as a community, they would take it and they would bulldoze it or bomb it from the skies like they did in Tulsa.
So why can't we see that as an intention towards sabotage then? Why is it that doesn't make us make a cultural perspective of seeing whatever adversarial factor is in that type of intention toward us as an enemy? Why the fuck won't we say that if it's to that degree?
Well, here's the thing. It's kind of hard to hit you when you've been integrated into the system with everybody else now, is it?
Who the fuck been integrated? Niggas really believe they've been integrated in this motherfucker.
Listen what I'm telling you now. It's hard to hit a target when the target is a part of you now. Think about it. We were easy to hit before because we're all together. But if we all spread out and tone the whole world black, like I wrote in my paper in 1996 of what's supposed to be happening right now, it's kind of hard to hit that target, you know? Just like we talked about with Kobe Bryant passing on his legacy. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, his family is maybe, you know, Hispanic or whatever, but they still black, you know? They just got a little spicy to them, you know? So I think what's happening is we got brothers taking their resources and they're spreading it over the earth. And that's the main reason why these people are having a hard time with dealing with not being in the majority again in America, bringing all these imports in because nobody wants to work anymore because the declining of the birth rate of the white folk. you know. So they kind of did it to themselves.
Yeah, they did
So like
do
I
it
said
to
earlier,
themselves.
it's kind of hard to be a target when you've been
Like
integrated
cancer.
into the system. So basically, what I'm saying is they've outsmarted themselves. So all we have to do is just wait them out.
Well, I mean, but to wait them out for them to make the rightful decision, as far as speaking with black women, with the fall of their positioning and hopefully the fall of their ideology that they believe placed them in that position.
It's on the way, buddy. Yeah, I think this country has spoken. You know, the 92% still trying to figure out what happened. We've been trying to tell them for a whole year it was coming. On this network, we told them it was coming. All the conversations we had, we told them it was coming. They talked about us like dogs and said, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. But thank God for the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because the message still there. And if they think we was lying, they can go back and they can watch it. And I'm here to tell you right now, as we speak today, they're going to come back and they're going to watch this and they're going to be like, they were spitting again. Because I'm going to tell you what the next step is. The next step, like I said earlier, is integration. You know, I wrote a paper back this in social psychology class in 1996. I got an A on it. And basically what I was telling them, I said that America is no longer going to have the majority of white people in it by 2030, 2050. And I'd be doggone. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's going on.
They also say that the black median wealth is going to be at zero by 2050. So what happens?
It all depends on what color your dollar is, man.
Color your dollar. Wait, no, hear me. They saying the entire black median wealth is going to be at zero. So what happens to the social worth of a people, where your median wealth is at, it's going to be at zero, even 20 years later? They're saying there's nothing that black people can do up until the 2050s in order to adjust that beneficially for us. What happens to the social worth of a people where that happens in this particular type of society that's market based as it is?
Well, like I said earlier, how you gonna count these dollars? You got guys going overseas. You got guys with other ethnicities. You know, how you gonna count the money? Yeah, it's gonna look like it's gonna be different, but that money ain't going nowhere. You know, I think Albert Einstein said it best. You know, energy is never created nor destroyed. You know what I'm saying? It just transforms. But my thing is this: they can count the numbers all they want to, but they're counting black on black dollars. But if folks start integrating, then is it still black? Does that really matter in the grand scheme of things? Think about it. Sometimes we be adding up stuff we don't have no business adding up. For what? What difference does it make?
We're supposed to be measuring blackness.
We're supposed to be measuring greatness, brother.
Because this is why I'm asking. Because the fact that there was a part of the conversation where it was said Kobe's legacy,
right?
Even though they're partially Hispanic,
right?
So now, like, in my brain, what is translate to what is transferring in my brain as I'm listening to this conversation, it just sounds like even in the best case scenario, if black people do get their shit together, it's gonna be a scenario where niggas that look like BMU and Son gonna kick it together and not want to fuck with niggas that look like Lit and Coach Ferg. Because we measuring blackness. Because now we're talking about, well, you're really only black if your dad was black, or you're really only black if your mom was black. Like now, niggas is gonna start measuring black.
We've never had a cultural defined perspective of we two things. We never defined what black was from a black cultural standard, or what it supposed to mean to belong to what it means to belong to being black. We haven't defined those two things. We are a very new and a very fresh people.
Then that would bring up
that colorism thing is something that the women cling to.
No, but
I'm not talking black as a color. I'm not talking black as a color. I'm not talking black as a pigment. I'm talking black.
Y'all hate on me because I'm light skinned.
Cultural identity.
So it does bring back the whole thing of, is there a black community? It brings that back, and we've talked about it extensively. And the thing is that actually what we are looking at? Because if we're looking at it from that standpoint, and we're saying that we have a community of black folks, where is it? Where is it? And so it has to be defined. And people say that it is. I done been on many a panels, and I've heard people sit back and say, you're wrong, JT. There is a black community. Okay, so where is it? How is it defined? Where is the location? Where are we at with that? And it goes to what you just said, son. It's never been agreed upon as far as the definition. And that's one of the reasons why we will always raise that question. If you're talking about, think about this with Kobe. If you're just looking at it starts with him, then it's going to end with him. And that's not true, because do y'all know how many siblings Kobe has? Do you understand what his father's legacy was? Do you understand his mother's legacy, his grandparents' legacy? Do we understand that? So that's where it comes down to, let's go with this, what we talked about earlier, to tie it in. Where does dating, courting, and marriage come in?
Those people are probably going to be dating on a different economic level. They're not going to be reaching back, to the hood. That when money gets to a certain level, it seeks itself, man. That's the main reason why you got a lot of rich folks. They always seem to date the same people, and the same people in the hood always seem to date the same people in the hood. Every now and then you'll get some dude from the hood that made it, who will date his high school sweetheart or something like that. But outside of that, economically, most people date on the same social economic guidelines.
I mean, well, look, I think that's a blanketed perspective of the hood, because the hood didn't only contain, elements of the game primarily.
And contain the hood.
The hood had all walks, right? And those who was actually of the game, let's say, the harsher, element or whatever, social elements, those were minorities in the hood. The hood was just regular, largely blue collar, right? You had some white collar and everything. So that meant that the hood definitely had potential. And it always had potential. And we was a village still while we were calling ourselves the hood. We were just, shortened neighborhood to motherfucking hood because English sucks or whatever. And that's what black people do to language. The thing is, the values have shifted. If the value isn't in what is going to sustain the community, and this is the reason why black has never been, put on the pedestal like that or whatever, or the analysis fucking bar or whatever. The thing is, black people have always wanted to be more American than black, whatever the fuck it means to be a fucking American. But to me as a child, that's what I saw. That's what I saw when black people was running from black. I ain't your brother, I ain't your sister. And it's like, yo, wait a minute. There are some hyper motherfucking social, systematic, anti-black fucking factors here to where it could have been any nigga where whatever happened to. And it's like you don't have the empathy and the instant reflexive fucking connectivity to that based off of what? Because you're trying to be more of an American. That is basically something that adheres to what these pilgrims want.
You know what, Rogish? I think we would be better off if we looked at ourselves as American as opposed to just the color of our skin. I think one of the
I'm not saying black as a color though. I'm saying culture.
Wait a minute, hold on now. You get a whole diatribe. Let me just say what I said. You said that, let me just say something. Whether you said black, you were talking about color or not, you mentioned black or American. Most black people define themselves by the color of their skin because they've been programmed to. And I think that's one of the biggest problems we have. We are more than just the color of our skin. And maybe you agree with that, maybe you don't. I don't, that's just you. But all I'm saying is we're Americans. And if we don't start looking at ourselves as Americans, we keep missing out because we but we are entitled to pursue everything that America has to offer.
Agreed.
Whether we're black or not. I wanted to say that specifically because we don't deserve, we're not entitled to, but we, just by whether life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, we have the right to pursue everything that America has to offer. And it has a lot to offer. I mean, if Ikene was trying to say what he was trying to say, if you want to be an entrepreneur, great. If you want to be a professional, great. If you want to just work 9 to 5, or you want a craft, or you want to be a vocation, here's another thing. Black women are trying to gaslight black men into getting a fucking education that ain't worth shit no more. Right? By hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to go through a fucking indoctrination camp where I can go to a vocational school, learn HVAC, learn electrician, learn all these things that I can use my hands for and make money no matter how the economy switches, right? And because, and you know, they act like if you don't go to college, you don't read a book. That's bullshit.
For
You know what
sure.
I'm saying? You don't have to go to college to read a goddamn book.
Yes,
You know,
man.
so
And most of them can't read.
Right, right. So every time I hear a black woman say, you know, I want an educated man. What kind of education you want?
Garbage cans.
You know, so all I'm just trying to say is, I think one of the biggest problems we have is that we are so connected to the victim. Is not you. I'm not saying you said this, so I'm not saying you said.
Rock, keep rocking, bro. I'm with you.
Right. So all I'm saying, one of the biggest problems we have as a collective is that so many people try to, especially on the liberal side and the Democrat side, try to keep us in this mindset that we are victims of everything, and that our whole identity is somehow tied to 180 years ago when we are slaves. We've conquered all that shit: slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, Ku Klux Klan, redlining, and here we are in this fucking place with all these things against us, with the most millionaires in the whole world, in America, that are black. So how do we do that? No, you know what? That's not DEI, by the way. We earn every fucking thing we get, and I think we don't talk enough about the fact that most of us want to make a living and make a living for our families or whatever family we have. We're mostly well-to-do people. We ain't criminals. The majority of black men are not incarcerated and all that other bullshit. And guess what? Majority of average dudes will make great fucking husbands, but we got fucking women who price themselves out of the market because they're all trying to think they have some fairy tale life that they're entitled to. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so we need to have, I just think that most men today, and I'm old, so I'm done, right, need to transcend the time that we're in. We need to transcend the time that we're in, right? We need to stand on whatever fucking standards we have and forget about social media, forget about all the technology. If you're a man and you want a woman, you don't ask her shit. You want to be with me, it's got to be on my terms. I'm the leader. Right? I'm not going to acquiesce to your bullshit. If you're having a job and I have a job, okay, we're going to fucking both pay bills. And you know what? We're going to both clean the house. Because if I'm going to send you out to work 50 hours just like me, I'm not going to put the fucking house on you and I'm going to just sit down and chill. We're going to have set days where we fix the house. I like to cook. Right? So my wife doesn't have to, when we have small children, hey, listen, for 2 years or 3 years, when we have kids, you're going to do the heavy lifting. Stop giving me some shit. Because the baby needs you more than everybody else. You got the fucking titties that they need to suck from. You know what I'm saying? It's just some simple shit that transcends time.
Practicality.
You know, and when they try to gaslight us, say, oh, I'm doing all the heavy lifting. You're fucking supposed to do the heavy lifting. The rest of my goddamn life is taking care of you guys. And you talk about a couple of years, you got to let the little kids suck on your nipples and you give me some shit about that. Shut the fuck up. Do what the fuck you got to do. You know, and so we acquiesce to women.
You're talking practicality to
And
emotions.
if they can't understand that, then they're not the right woman.
And that's why that's why SBM and Passport Bro.
Well, no, I mean, we don't have to put labels on it. I'm just saying the average dude just needs to say, you know what, I got my life together. You're pretty, not you, I'm just taking in general. You're a badass woman, but your criteria is stupid. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to acquiesce to what you want. I say this before, I'm going to shut up here. And especially if you're marriage minded. Any man who marries a woman on her terms is an asshole. Or if you get married, a woman got to marry you on your terms because I'm the one who's asking. You don't like my terms, just say no so we can go our separate ways. But if you say yes, it's got to be my terms and this shit ain't going to work. I don't want to pull you into my marriage. I want you to come walking. I want you to come running, goddammit. I want to know that you look at me as your number one choice. And if you can't do that, I'm not marrying your ass. I'm not, And I said I was going to end it. I always use my vampire analogy. I like vampire movies if you marry a woman, you open that door and let her in, right? And she's a vampire, she ain't gonna kill you right away. Because vampires like to play with their food. She's gonna pat you around a little bit, man. And when you're no longer useful, like my girl's gonna do to my man Hunter, Travis, she's gonna pounce and then it's gonna be over for you. You can't let
call him cornbread.
So, I mean, I'm done, man. I just think we complicate life so much. And it ain't for me to say no more because I'm done. I got my wife. For some reason, she still likes me. I like her. I like you. So we're gonna go out to the sunset. But the future,
you're a good man. You're a good man.
If y'all still got y'all likability with one another, y'all winning, cuz for real.
Yeah.
So
all I'm saying, I just would like to see you guys win.
You can build on that.
I would like to see young people win, man. There's some women out there that way. We get blinded by the internet. You know, that's why we gotta test honeys. We gotta test them. You just gotta test them. If you want to go out to a dinner and she says, you gotta cash out me some shit for my hair, then you should never talk to that woman again.
You're dealing with a hoe. That's a hoe. I'm sorry. I
don't care how fat her ass is, but enough men don't walk away. You know, they just
any chick that start off with a monetary exchange, please see her as a hoe. Please. I understand these are the old ways.
Hold up, man. How am I gonna see her as a hoe, man? I ain't had nothing, man, in 6 months, man. What you talking about? Been like half a year already, man. What you talking about? I gotta walk
must use the old way.
Speak for yourself, OG. I ain't had none.
Hold up, man. You think I'm gonna walk away? The only thing I gotta do is give her 150. Man,
that ass though. Did you see that ass on her? You crazy.
You know the price.
Y'all talking the way y'all talk because y'all ain't seen an ass like this before.
Hey, Shannon putting 25. Shannon putting 25,000 on a cheek. I got a car note for an ass like that. Stop playing with me, man.
Y'all tripping.
Listen, y'all already know the price is. Yeah. You tell them what the price is. It's 20 in the front.
That's 40 in the back.
And 40 in the back.
I'm not turning around. I'm not leaving that ass on the table for somebody.
You just wasting your time, OG. I'm going. I'm cash apping that ass.
But hold up now. Remember, KS did rock with the standard that it ain't tricking if you got it. He did rock with that standard.
So what? I got it.
Yeah, he kind of fucked that message up.
I told you it was some sucker shit in his shit. It was some sucker shit in there.
It's tricking. I don't care if you got it. If you don't got it, it's tricking.
Coach Ferg just said, "I can fuck you, paid if I ain't let that ass go."
Right, you talking crazy, OG.
I'm 25 years old. I just got paid this Friday.
See, you don't understand. You looking at me like that because you don't know Baby D like I know Baby D.
No dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? No dictatorship.
Young nigga ain't turning that shit down. What you talking about? That nigga shit woke up this morning. His shit like it's in his job.
That nigga stayed up late last night door dashing to get that 250.
Yeah, he did. Hey, door dashing and doing Lyft.
That's what you old niggas on the internet talking about.
And he trying to sell that old ass weed he got. That's nasty ass weed.
Say, look, I give you this 7 for 45 right now. What's
right
up?
now. On wholesale.
You're paid up.
You had a lifetime of pussy. You sit down here telling us I can't get nothing.
What they be telling you, Pay? They be like, you just talking that shit. This ain't like your days, Pay. We gotta acquiesce to this shit. What did you see that?
For real. We ain't got no choice, goddammit. These are mega hoes, super hoes. Right. They all hoes out here, nigga.
Right. We need to get it. I got to have it.
Hoes as far as the eye can see. What would all you bitches do for a Klondike bar, bitch?
Dudes don't have that confidence though.
Yeah, it's
they outnumber us. They outnumber us, man. And guys don't realize
they scared to do what Payne said do because it does work. When you have that type of confidence, and you're saying, listen, this is what has to happen, and you lay that shit down, and you actually have a ideology or a plan based off of what it is that we're going to do while we're together. And they're going to listen to that shit, man. It's just at the end of the day, part of it is that you don't have young brothers that got that type of confidence. That shit sound crazy as hell. You talking like
So
that,
that mean there are no uncles or fathers in their life then.
Yeah, they've never seen it before. They've never seen a man that actually took charge and it looks easy, right? He
Now,
not out here.
How young would you think one has to be in order to see that, to be able to absorb it, have that seed planted? What's the youngest age that you think one can see it and actually be able to have maybe a subconscious inkling of an understanding to where that's going to sprout? You know what I'm saying? Very
Sixth
well
grade.
in the later future.
Sixth grade.
10 years old.
Sixth grade.
Yeah.
Sixth grade, okay.
Age 11, 12, age 12, sixth grade.
And that shit will haunt you, though, man.
Yeah.
That shit will haunt you. Because what I just said, when I was in Buffalo in college, I must have been around 20, 21 years old. The girl across the street from me, she was 17. But she was already boning grown men.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She was the reddest bone I've ever seen. Right?
Perverse.
She was pretty. She liked me.
The reddest bone.
She liked me. I mean, she liked me. So she used to come over. We used to smoke some cheese and all that kind of stuff. And she wanted me to fool around with her. So I'm thinking I'm playing a grown man shit, right? And she's already had grown man, so I didn't really pursue with it. So 2 years later, I saw her in the club. Now she's a grown, maybe 2-3 years later, grown woman. She was the most beautiful fucking woman I have ever seen. I couldn't even buy her a drink. I couldn't even buy her a drink. But what I'm saying, because I turned her down when she was young.
Oh, she ain't give you no play then?
Oh man, because she looked at me and she knew who I was. I said, God damn it, man. I was trying to be a good man.
He said regret is a motherfucker. All right, then regret is a motherfucker.
You didn't even know you struck out.
Damn, I got
So it's not easy. Like I said, it ain't easy turning down.
You get reprimanded for not clapping the cheeks. That's crazy as hell.
Yo, check it out. Shout out to my homie Thorough. He said, look, we had a talk one time. He said, I don't think I would be able to tell my son that there is a good return being a good man.
Mm-hmm.
And you being, let's say, being within grassroots community and you're doing the service and everything. And, you know what I'm saying, chicks start choosing whatever. And you don't want to be on no hotel shit, you know what I'm saying, because chicks is choosing whatever. So it's like, but damn, it's like preacher, like preacher. Sometimes they get that pussy, sometimes they can't, whatever it is. The thing is, the fact that you being a good man, standing on your principle and everything, and being the example and everything, and you lose out in the gain that it seems others are able to take a ease of engaging or whatever. And it's like, all right, would you be able to tell your son being a good man has its, you know what I'm saying, it's material perks that it's supposed to motherfucking have.
Yeah, but you can tell him, but you got to tell him that it's heartbreak that comes with that being a good man thing. You're gonna miss out, nigga. You gonna miss out.
I've always been a good.
Wait a minute, I was like 23. I'm 67. I'm still talking about this shit.
Yeah, but what you trade that? Hold on, what you have traded the potentials of that versus what you have right now, Payne.
No, of course not.
Hell no, right. No. So that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you may not be able to see it today. You just gotta have faith. You're gonna have to miss out on some shit, man. I'm telling you. That's what you gotta tell them. Nigga, this shit is not easy. It's not an easy thing.
But see, here's the problem. The problem with what? Okay, and this is just me. What I've seen. working with a lot of young men, and I don't care, man. Sometimes, man, I could just be giving them, man, everything they need in that process. But without a man getting those gems from his father, a lot of that shit go by the wayside, man. That's the one person that a lot of guys, and when you know your father ain't around, you think about that shit you probably dream about that shit.
Yeah.
Being with my daddy, what that's like. And then you come to find out this motherfucker 2 blocks away from me. How many brothers go back outside of what we see, the little few that's starting to be on these social? How many brothers right now go back to their mom and be like, man, you ain't shit. You left me, kept me from this good dude because some shit y'all was doing before me?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of brothers over the last 30 years are at, in that space. They didn't have a chance to have that. Even I remember single mothers would be like, I'm going to call your motherfucking daddy over and whoop your ass.
Yeah.
He good for the next 6 years. Because the mother understood her role, and she understood that, hey, we ain't shit together, but here, this is your son, deal with that shit. And the brothers ain't had that, man. Everything they've been taught, everything, the way they walk, the way they put their clothes on, the way they stand, all that shit is just like their mamas and aunties. I ain't never seen so many niggas slew-footed with wide hips in my damn life.
Chili the feet. They got chili the feet.
Ready? Okay. I ain't never. Come on, man. And they mixing it all up. You see how they dressed the little boy? Where did y'all mama dress y'all in the same outfit as her? Oh man, JT, man, your daddy would have slapped that shit off you, man.
Quick, faster to her.
My father wouldn't even be letting that shit happen. What the fuck is this thing you got this boy in?
My son is
Don't
not
change
gay.
that shit.
That daddy would.
But that's what I'm saying. The brothers don't get that. And I think that's where the women do themselves a disservice years down the road.
Yeah.
Because now y'all saying the pool is dirty, but you ain't even allowed him to connect with the one person who by default, because y'all can't tell me most fathers, if I know I got access to my son, I can pick him up on whatever day, take him to school, drop him off and shit. Most fathers are not going to let their sons do what the fuck they want to do. And they damn sure ain't going to let their daughters be out here in them streets showing their tatas at the kids' graduation.
Nope.
Ain't no way this shit be going on, but here we are. Who's attacked the most? They say the women, but look how we are shut out from just having the right to the one thing that we can make without doing shit is our seed, and we don't even get access to it like that. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it takes the only thing it takes is the connection from what we spiritually are connected to them with. It just takes us being around them. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things it resonates so much with me because I've been around my father, until he died all my life, right? So when I seen him being what they would consider a good man, that was very uncomfortable for a lot of people because when my father came into this place, when you wasn't doing right, him and other men, niggas get nervous. They can't look him in the eye. They always fidgety. My father, why you always fidgeting, boy? He was like that. He had nephews, and he can tell when they up to no motherfucking good because they can't stand straight. You know what I'm saying? And he used to always be looking at him, and it was just something about him that made me say a good man can't be defined by what a woman wants. It can't be because I've seen too many men that were solid, and it made other men uncomfortable if they was up to no good. The woman, she was the only one that actually could be at a point where she can handle that man, right? She was the only one because that was his wife. All the other women didn't like that man because he said what was on his mind. If he seen some little boy switching and shit like that, he'd tell that little boy, stop switching your ass, little boy. And then he'll look at the mama because it wasn't the daddy wasn't there. It was the mama. He'd tell her, you better get on that right there, because that boy gonna turn out sugary. Men used to say this. Men used to say, now you can't say shit now. They got you on camera. They putting you on IG. They sitting back making you look like, it's like that good man is not that dude that acquiesces. He's not.
Look,
he's the guy that actually has it where it's my terms. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Leave him alone in the 80s. I remember hearing that shit whenever
I remember that shit too.
Brothers would speak up and they be pointing some shit out and you watching this shit. Leave him alone. I'm like, yo, what the issue? Them niggas is right. Shit, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it was and back then.
Fast forward 20 years later, he doing their hair. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it's crazy. Yeah.
You want your edges laid down. Putting their ass to work. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, that shit resonates, man.
Sad, man. It's just scary, man.
It's very scary. Like when you see, like, especially when you get on and you start talking to a lot of these young men that is just so, their attitude is like a child. Well, you can't say nothing to me. And they hollering and screaming. And you like, wait, hold on, young fella.
Single mother syndrome.
Right. It's, they try to stick their chest out, but they can't because they don't know how to articulate. They don't know how to be at a point where they can control themselves. A lot of these guys, because they never seen it. Only thing they saw was how women resolve issues. The craziest thing is that women, they learn how to resolve issues from men that they actually deem as someone that they can look forward to, right? They can look right ahead and be like, he ain't for no bullshit. Very nice guy, never raises his voice, but don't get him on the other side because he can show you exactly how this shit go. And most women used to be able to look at guys like that and be like, I want a man like him.
Yep, they can.
Now they don't.
Now they don't. That man right now is toxic.
He's toxic.
Yeah, he's a narcissist.
He's narcissistic. Yeah, it's all of that. Yeah, and then he's gay.
Don't talk all that shit.
He all that. When the actual men, this is why with men, it's very good for us to be able to be in this space that I still would consider to be a new space when we're talking about social media, right? When we're here, because we call it out. We can sit back and we can look at the dude that's a panderer and we will say it. You're like, man, he talking bullshit. He's a damn panderer. We say that and we're not just throwing that word out. We actually can see. Oh, we know what he's trying to do. We see what he's trying to get to. But they would look at us as the toxic person, as the haters and all of that. And I'm like, okay. And then guess what happened? That same dude that we were just telling you about, now he on all kind of sexual scandals. He done beat somebody up. He done had babies illegitimately. Now his ass on child support. He got 5-6 other women that saying that this man had put on, they beat him up and stuff like that. And we just looking like, see, told you.
But
that's what happens.
How much of the dream are they not to want, though?
What do you mean?
The only reason they want that type of motherfuckers is because they selling them the dream. Now, the thing is, we can see through this shit, but if they don't take nobody's guidance or whatever, they don't have one who can provide a loving guidance, then it's like, all right, then you're just going to buy that motherfucker's illusion. They're selling them a dream. Why is it that the dream is so motherfucking desirable when it's flimsy from the jump? But they don't,
because they because they have the ideal of doing what they want, not what they need to do. That's why.
Right. When you was raised on a healthy diet of you can't do no wrong, and you can do whatever it is you want to do. You have a taste for bullshit.
Yeah, true.
And until you change your appetite, you gonna continue to munch on that bullshit.
And then, so how many?
Somebody tell you.
How many of y'all come from your parents were married and you had a sister and how many of y'all ever heard y'all mama say, if they were married, girl, you got to use what you got to get what you want? You ever heard that from a house
with no man?
My mama ain't never said no shit like that.
But that's what I'm saying though. So you talking years of singleness. They're going to teach their daughters how to survive within men. They pass this down. These are conversations they have. They get the straight out of high school. I ain't even gonna say high school, 15, 16. Because think about it, over the last 30, 40 years, most of our children have been born while the parents were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's 16, 17 having their first kids. Some, you know what I'm saying, some a little earlier, some later. They feel like it's an accomplishment if they made it out of high school without having a child.
But you make a good point also, for when you talk about siblings, right? The girls. Mothers would give them a different message. But now the boys are listening to what the mama is telling the daughter, and they're holding that same creed. You hear these little sister boys walking around talking about some, you got to use what you got to get what you want type of shit. Shaking their asses, doing cheerleading shit, being a goddamn, being a bad bitch. I ain't never seen this many boys talking about being a bad bitch.
Owning periods and shit.
Right. Should a father be able to call his son soft?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, if he's soft.
Shit, my daddy used to tell me, stop your damn crying, little soft ass.
Yeah.
I was really good at baseball. You know why I was really good at baseball, and especially catching? Because my father used to throw that damn ball, and if I didn't catch it, guess what it was gonna do? Hit me in my damn face.
Yeah.
He didn't have to call me soft. He didn't have to call me inaccurate. The only thing he had to do was just because he played sports, right? He played sports just like I did. Do you know how bad it is to be a father? Your son is 15 years old. You go see him play basketball and he can't play. That shit looks. I'm never coming here again. Is basically what he said. Yeah. You playing like a 4-year-old, man. Listen, I love now. This is what I do love about the millennials and some of the G's that got little kids. No matter how bad their child playing at 4 years old, they're at that game.
That's what's up.
But they talk about it, they be like, boy, I can't wait till he get older. Right? I can't wait because this shit, seeing these damn kids run around and they out here picking the ball up, stepping and stuff like that.
They're losing motor skills? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're losing motor skills because they don't have their dad there. Right. So when I see the millennials and I see the younger generation that have little boys and little girls, they're actually there. We actually learn from the hood. I'm a latchkey kid, homie. I learned, and I'm pretty good. I'm still at 50-something years old. I'm still good at playing basketball. I'm just not doing what I used to do.
Right.
However, I learned. My father didn't go to all my games. He went to some of them because his ass was out there working a whole lot. But I ended up doing a whole lot of things because I had the initiative because my father was an athlete. Everything from fighting to playing baseball and basketball, all of that. It was in me. Only thing he did was connect to me because he liked playing sports. So that was one of the things we connected with. I remember, and my father, he had, them damn boomers, they had some ugly ass basketball moves, but they still would win.
It worked.
They still would win.
It was effective.
Yeah, because they was playing in Chuck Taylors.
That
damn sky hook. No matter how small that man was, he had a sky hook. And we was like, man, how the hell this old motherfucker still beat me in basketball? And it made us better. It made us better because they were naturally really good at doing things like sports. And another thing my father taught me was chess. Mm-hmm. So those were the things. I didn't catch on to it like my little brother did. He caught on to it way better than I did. But these were the things that I seen our parents do as they were boomers. But I see the ones, the fathers that are in their kids' life, I see them being a little more hands-on. Because they're not in the house normally. So they got to go up there, either pick them up or they have to meet them there or whatever. But they're doing it. They put in that extra effort, right?
Yeah,
and now you're starting to see a lot of these guys. That's what I see in men. I see the progression in men.
Brothers got a voice.
Do you see the installation of an intent to dominate? Or
with men
to just do your best or whatever.
I see a struggle. I see a struggle in them doing it, and that's one of the reasons why I'm starting to see a lot of younger dudes that they like to be around the older cats now, right? They like to get a different type of a conversation.
Hear that all,
So that's what I'm starting to see now is that we didn't have no choice. They was talking and we was just listening.
Right. Tell them, JT.
They were just talking and we was just listening.
You sit there and you sow. Don't say
Yeah.
Don't say shit.
Now they're starting to come. These young dudes are starting to come to us now. It's starting to be that. I start to see that now.
Yeah, we ain't have ADHD back in the day, JT.
Hey,
You just sit down and listen.
You know why, JT?
Right.
The teacher will appear when the student is ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it is, man. Let me tell you something. The difference between a man raising a child and a woman raising a child is a woman to sit up there and say, do what I tell you to do. A man will tell you to think for yourself. I think that's a big difference. The reason why
Figure that shit out.
Hey, you better figure that shit out. Think about it. Every time your daddy say, yeah, you better figure that shit out. You know,
absolutely.
But
the world
that's what your first support was.
Yeah, think about it. The world is so easy to deceive people, man. You know, if you go out through the world with people telling you do what I tell you to do, you're gonna wind up being used, and you're gonna wind up being around here crying all the time. You know, that's the main reason why you have to think for yourself. If you don't teach your son nothing else, or you don't teach your kids nothing else, think for yourself. Think for yourself. Because think about it. The main thing they used to tell you, if your little friends jump off a bridge, would you jump off the bridge too?
Right.
And I've been watching a lot of people jump off bridges lately. You know,
man. After seeing what somebody else went through, and they still go jump their ass off the damn bridge too.
Yeah. Like, you ain't make it, did you? No, I ain't got to do that. You know what I'm saying? I can learn.
Maybe common sense ain't all that.
Say it again. Lost. Say it again. Say it one more time. What'd you say? You can what?
Hey, I can look over there and see you ain't doing so well. You know what I'm saying?
You can learn from somebody else.
A damn thing.
I can learn from that's Gen X. We learn from the other bullshit. Oh, I ain't doing that
Gen
shit.
X model. Let me say, Gen X model is the second mouse gets the cheese.
That's it.
You go out there and get your head snapped if you want to.
Right. You gonna do that shit.
You better believe it.
For sure.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think is better for the development of a young boy? The fear of being shot or the fear of being punched in the mouth?
Fear of being punched in the mouth.
Hold on. Ask that question again.
What do you feel like is better for the development of young boys? The fear of being shot or the fear of being punched in the mouth? The reason I'm asking is because I remember a time, and I'm sure y'all remember a time, where you can catch a fair one, where you would have to fight one-on-one, whether you won or lost. After this is over, you got to get up, shake hands, and go on about your business. There ain't no fair one no more.
Yeah,
so which do you think is better for the development of a young boy is basically what I'm asking.
Well,
I can tell you the reason why I say that. I can tell you the reason why I say the fear of being punched in the mouth, because it's a little more common, right? Fighting is a little more common than somebody shooting your ass. You know what I'm saying? For the majority of us. So the thing is that and maybe it's because of how I grew up. At some point, you're gonna have to fight. Somebody is gonna try you, and you're gonna have to show them who you are. They're gonna try to step. So you can't be scared of getting punched in the mouth, because they still might beat your ass.
You know what? I bet you if I went around this room,
but you get a chance to beat it. You know,
I bet you if I went around this room, every last one of y'all had a bully, and you remember that joker's name to this day, and you got the best of his ass. I bet you.
I did, but I don't remember. I don't remember their name because
it don't matter though. But you still remember them, don't you?
I was a bully beater. You fucking with me, then
there you go.
And I was a clicker.
I ain't get bullied too much. I was a big for my. I guess I was like at 12 years old. I was 130 pounds. I was all muscle. Yeah. I'm serious. I was 130 pounds, but I played football, and I always just sort of, I don't know, man. I just was built different, and bullies didn't bother me. And I had 5 sisters, so I was always ready for a fight. Like, I wish somebody would push me today, but nobody did, man. I always said. I was an easygoing person. I wasn't, I'm old now and I can talk shit, but when I was young and hanging around my peers, you can talk all the shit, but I'm going to show you what I can do. Because one, I know how to run over you. I'll run around you, and I'll I was just like it. I was palming basketball since the 7th grade, so I didn't get a whole lot. But I wasn't pushing up. You know what I'm saying? I stayed away
heavy-handed motherfucker.
I just stayed away from. I stayed away from the dudes that was on bullshit. I just stayed away from them. You know, I was like, "What's up?" Speak and everything, but I wasn't like, "Man, what y'all doing?" Because, like I said, my daddy was the craziest motherfucker I knew, and I didn't let nobody outside lead me in a direction that I know I didn't want to go. I don't give a damn. When you ready to go steal a car, all right, man. Don't get caught by the police.
That's right.
You ready to go break into something? All right, man. Don't get caught by the police because I'm going home. My mama had dinner on the table by 6:30. I got to get over there because that's where it's at. This bullshit over here with y'all, I ain't with that shit. And I was cool, man. I play sports, so I ain't missing my games and shit. Fucking with nobody. They want to cut class and shit and be on that bullshit. And I just didn't deal with it.
That was the dumbest shit in the world, cutting class and ain't got no place to go. That shit used to be. I tried that shit one time, man. I was just walking up and down the fucking street. It was 8 o'clock. Look, right, 8 o'clock. Dog, let me tell you, that time was going so damn slow, man. It was 8 o'clock. I'm thinking it was an hour. It was 8:30 the next time I looked at my clock. I said, oh, hell no. Yeah, that was dumb.
All your friends in school.
Yeah, all them in school. I'm like, man. I'm not doing this no more.
So you cut by yourself? You ain't supposed to cut by yourself.
No, I had some dumbass friends I was cutting with. I thought we was gonna have a place to go.
We can't go to my house. My mama's still at home. My mama's still at home.
My mama's still at home. We can't go to my house. We just looking dumb. We done walked around at school. I'm like, I could have just been in there. Have to deal with this shit.
Your friends out there laughing at you too. Just looking out of the window. Watching the ass call blue.
Dog, that was a great lesson because I never got caught. I never got caught because I never did it too often. But when I did that shit, man, that was the longest day I ever had in my life. And then I'm in the motherfucking hood. I'm like in the real hood. And one of the things about Detroit that people don't understand, we had a lot of stray ass dogs.
They would bite.
Because you walking around a neighborhood that you ain't really abreast about, and you walking, the dog don't even bark. This nigga Chuck, he coming to get your ass. All you see is that dog coming.
Oh, the motherfuckers.
You out there, you jumping on, tearing somebody's car up. Get out my damn car. Get your dog. That ain't my damn dog.
And we was quick on our feet back then because we all had calf muscles. All these motherfuckers today, they flat-footed, no calves, no. They ain't got no spring in they jump. They ain't got none of that.
Frail as fuck. It's like
shoulders and shit all little and shit.
How y'all niggas get that fucking frail, nigga?
All of them look like they characters from the Boondocks. They skinny as hell with these big ass afros.
Everybody walk stiff leg. Why everybody like walk stiff leg? If you ever know, they walk stiff leg.
Because they ain't got no damn belt on. They
hold up. Yeah, they do got on the belt, but the motherfuckers by their knees, nigga.
I had knees.
You sagging your pants, you got a fucking belt on, cuz. You sagging your pants and you holding the motherfucker up with a fucking belt on.
And they skinny jeans. That's the crazy part. Nigga, how they sagging? This
cutting off all their circulation to their kahunas and shit.
The logic has left.
Man, you got a 20. You wearing a 29. You wearing Mrs. Juniors. What we doing here?
Oh, shit. Yo, this is nuts, man.
Mrs. Juniors. Mrs. Juniors.
You know what, JT? You crazy as hell. Brothers, you wearing Juniors?
That shit is
What the hell are you doing?
Niggas still going over into the kids section.
No, but this is the thing. That Lil Wayne make it popular. And it's supposed to stop. Like once they show that, all right, yo, this nigga on that shit, and that's why he was doing all that crazy shit. And people still doing it.
Yeah, it wasn't. He didn't start that shit. Our generation started that shit. The X's started that shit.
With the cross colors. The cross colors brought that in, sort of
Cross colors, cross colors was not suspect. Cross colors
what I'm saying, ushered in the baggy look. Then
that shit came from jail life and prison life. That shit came from motherfuckers out here implementing all that damn jail shit into the neighborhoods. They've been out there and there wasn't even too much prison. It was niggas that were doing dumb shit, not real shit. They were doing dumb shit, and they was spending, 6 months in damn jail, and they ain't had no damn belts. Because remember, you go to jail, you ain't got no shoestrings, and you ain't got no belt.
Yeah.
So that's why they was walking around, and then they just bring they funky ass out here, and they start implementing them damn kids with that dumb ass shit, and it just kept going.
It was 1986, I think, when the shit first started. And the thing was, you were wondering, why would you walk around with your drawers out? You know what I'm saying? And it was nowhere near where it is now, right? But that's what we were, these are the age of Thundercats, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, then, why would, nobody had their drawers out. Nobody. That wasn't nothing that you saw in the black community with anybody with their fucking drawers out. Maybe someone who maybe, obese a little bit, or if they were a little bit country and they had the overalls on or whatever, and everything was somewhat loose, whatever it is, what it is. But not as no fucking culture, not on nothing to stand on or nothing like that. No. And you're gonna find some way to keep your motherfucking pants up.
I'm gonna have with that.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna have to highly disagree with that because I was born in '92 and we was watching niggas wear 45 waist pants with double XL boxers. Like niggas was wearing clothes that was way too big, so it was nothing but draws. Like you got a tank top on, some fucking niggas was wearing that big ass baggy shit, hanging everything out, dog.
Yeah, that was out of pocket.
So everything that's happening now is just the skinny version of what y'all did baggy. Is all that it is.
Yeah, it was. But see,
that's basically what it is.
But the baggy version had a short lifespan. Baggy clothes had a short lifespan, like mid '80s to I guess it lasted about like 20 years because then everything started to go tight in the early 2000s. And it was still sagging. Motherfuckers' pants be so little they can't even pull them up over their cheeks because then they'll have about 6 inches space between the shoe and the top and the bottom of the pants. So the baggy look, I remember, with the cross color, when the cross colors came out, everybody started going a little baggy. And then what's that group, Onyx and all of them?
Yeah. And then they started tailoring the clothes to the big fit, right? So it was kind of like the jerseys. We used to wear the football jerseys, the basketball jerseys, and then you had a lot of people wearing Timbs and different boots and stuff like that. And so it ended up being something where because you had Karl Kani, FUBU, Jabot, cross colors, and they were tailoring their clothes to be big, but not to be at the sagging part. So instead of motherfuckers you wearing a size 32 and you buying 38s, you didn't have to do it no more. The way that they cut the clothes, it made it a little more presentable. However, when we started talking about wearing clothes that fit, that was one thing, because in the 70s and the 80s, we still wore clothes that fit. We called the jeans that we had straight legs. Like it's like how we wearing our pants now that's a little close. Right, not the skinny jeans. I'm just saying they're just close. They're straight legs. We just call them straight legs. That's basically it. But we also have what they call it, the relaxed fit. You also had that too.
Look, the start of all that tight shit was when motherfuckers started wearing cardigans.
Yeah,
y'all remember that bullshit?
I think that was more the B2K era, man.
Hove started that bullshit. Hove started that bullshit, and then motherfuckers started doing the pants to match. Because the cardigan just looked fucking weird, and they was rocking the cardigan with I know some.
You talking about the work clothes? The cardigan? No, that's Carhartt. That's Carhartt.
No, we talking Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, cuz.
Oh, I know. You talking about the preppy thing.
Yeah.
Everybody started wearing cardigans,
Yeah,
and next
the
thing you know, the
cardigans.
pants started going, you know what I'm saying, snug and shit. And it's like, what the fuck y'all niggas doing, man?
And then they start wearing goddamn leotards and
Nigga,
goddamn
Lil Wayne. That's Lil Wayne
them,
right there.
them ballet shoes. I can't
again,
get to
that's
the slippers, dog.
Karate
You see what these cats is wearing now? They wearing the suits, no socks.
All they wear is Crocs, cuz. Oh, that's it.
No, I'm talking about when they dress
y'all
up.
ain't doing no motherfucking work, cuz. Y'all ain't doing no
Motherfuckers
work.
about to have some bad ass. They about to have some bad problems, bro. They about to have everybody
They
gonna be
hips
going.
be fucked up.
Yeah,
But
they hips
the
gonna be
thing is,
totally.
this
fucked
is
up,
also
bro.
a sign of how with the social deterioration of a society.
On Crocs is
'Cause
worse.
it's not
That's
just
bad.
them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Crocs are good when you are at home and you wearing house shoes. You can wear them as house shoes. These niggas wearing them all day.
All day.
This is what kills me. These niggas, you got criminals wearing Crocs. They out here trying to steal cars and stick niggas up in Crocs. You like, wait, man, I can't take you seriously.
I probably might lightly qualify as one of these niggas because when I go to work, I wear boots, and as soon as I get to my car, I take them boots off and it's Crocs on all
No,
day.
that's no problem with that. That's different. That's different. I'm talking about they wear that shit. They wear that shit all day. It's like wearing pajamas. They wear that shit all day. They sleep in the shit, get up, and they go outside in the goddamn pajamas and Crocs.
Pajamas.
So you said the Crocs is nigga bonnets? Crocs is nigga bonnets? That's what that is?
Those Crocs, I've tried. I just can't. I can't bring myself to wearing them. I just can't bring myself to wearing them. I tried them on. I said, that just motherfuckers is. They're comfortable as shit. But
are they?
They're very comfortable. I just can't bring myself to buying them, bro. I can't purchase no Crocs, dog. I got regular house shoes.
Listen, I tell y'all what, I don't care what kind of shoes y'all wear. If I ever be around you niggas and I hear you niggas dragging y'all feet and I'll be like, hell no. I'm going on back home, man. If I ever hear that shit, bro, I hate that shit. Stand my seat, man, and I hear that shit. I just be like, man, if you don't pick your fucking feet up. I hate that shit, man. That's the sistiest shit I ever heard.
That is.
But
all you gotta do is just touch them. You'll shock the shit out of them.
Shit your daddy should have taught you. My dad used to tell me when I was a kid all the time about dragging my feet. You would rather step on a landmine than kick it. Pick your fucking feet up.
Yep, kick your feet up. Yep. Absolutely.
Salute to
you stub your toe enough, you're gonna find out. Out there shuffling your feet.
A landmine, no, look, that's instant. You're like, God damn.
Yeah, it's a done deal.
That's a hell of a jewel to drop for a
Kick
lesson.
that motherfucker if you want to.
Instant lacing right there. Yes, sir.
Yeah. No doubt. But yeah, man.
Y'all motherfuckers crazy, man.
That's the difference between talking to your daddy and your mama. You know what I'm saying?
Last question I got. So it was asked, when do you think that boys start picking up some of the shit that's happening? What if a father is in his son's life? When do you think the seed starts to take effect? When do you think it actually starts mattering to him? Like the game starts clicking to him?
About 14, 15.
Yep.
They got to have something to compare it against, you know?
Yeah, you're talking about the game as far as him and interaction with females and women, or yeah, about 14, 15. When you get over that wet dreams age and shit, and then when them girls touch you and you realize, like, yeah, this is what I like. You just need somebody.
You gonna have to get a heartbreak though. I think you
gotta get your heart broke one time.
You gotta get your heart broken, and
about
then it's
14, 15. Because you realize you like a girl and you come over and JT done already smashed.
I already got her.
Your heart is
broken. Terry Bone. You let Terry Bone.
My bad, bro. I didn't know. I have to tell that nigga, don't call me no more. You go talk to your girl, nigga. Go talk to our girl. She'll tell you. Don't call me no more.
Yo, I don't think 14, 15. At first I agree, but like, nah, that's kind of young if you think about it.
No, they ain't shit.
Because I mean, is a heartbreak going to happen by that time though?
Hell yeah.
But that your little 8th grade girlfriend she gonna break your heart.
But it's not a real heart
Absolutely.
because like for me personally, I didn't
sixth grade
figure this
for
shit
me.
out until I got into my 20s. Like a heart like that, eighth
That's
grade
different.
shit won't.
But
That
y'all,
eighth grade shit, that
Nah.
won't no real
That's
heart. Like
different.
the eighth grade shit won't no real heartbreak.
Why
Like
wasn't it?
being,
Nigga, you crazy,
huh?
boy.
Why wasn't
No,
it?
no, no.
What?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. For me, I'm gonna tell you why. Because
Nigga,
in
I
the eighth
love
grade,
Sky, nigga. Shit. I love that shit.
fuck all that, man. Because I
I was
already
in sixth
knew
grade.
like
I
we
knew
this
I
thing.
loved her. I knew
No,
I
This
loved her.
ain't that.
I want to hear him say. I want him to explain that. Why you say that it's
Because
not?
well, for one, because my dad was in the army, I knew that we had to do maneuvering around. So my attachment to relationships at that age just wasn't what most people's was. So I already had the ability to just
oh
like,
yeah, you okay?
all
Yeah,
right, well, moving on to the next. You know what I'm
most
saying? So there was that. But once I got into my 20s, and now I'm getting a paycheck. I done paid for a date. I done washed my car. I done got a haircut. Like now because I'm actually investing because I'm investing things that I care about. I care about my money and I put it into this bitch instead of putting it into my car. That's where the heartbreak came
No,
from.
you
For
was behind
for you, it
still
came
behind the
later.
A ball. You was behind the A ball, dog.
Yeah, you was
Because
behind,
We call that divide and
you're
more.
which is not a
risking.
bad thing though. It's not a
No,
bad
it's not. It's not because you got to learn at some point. But what we saying is that it, for one, is none of it is fake. It's all real. So even if you are, if you young and you like a little girl at 8, and you go over there and give her your cookies, right? And she's sitting there and she like you right now, and then the next thing you know, she liking some other little boy. That can be heartbreaking to you at that time. It don't mean that it's not real because you're investing your time to her. You're learning how to correlate with other women and even with your peers. So
Yeah.
it's not. It's just what are you risking at what age is what we're looking at. So about time you start talking about dating and paying for dates and shit like that and shit like that, you're an adult, right? Because as a kid, you 14, 15, you should be already at least being at a point where you can go on dates with girls to the movies or to the fair and things like that. And you can invest time into them because this is how you're going to learn how women think. You're going to understand, especially that young, they got ADHD, homie, when it comes down to that. And they may not, you see, when they're young, they may not know how good they look being a attractive young girl. They just out here, more and more dudes to start telling them, more and more dudes start paying attention to them. Their attitude starts to change. So by the time you 20 years old, this girl got her head is blown up already.
Nah, she got
them damn hips done spread it out, them titties done came out. She
got 8 bodies. She got 8 or 9 bodies already by that time.
So they running circles around you. They were
little Debbie no more. She got her own little Debbie's.
Yeah, she got her own.
And see, I can understand your sentiment because by your family being in the military, so you wasn't going to be someplace long enough to really. But most people growing up in urban communities, we went to school with that girl, man, that we liked.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we just get ready to get up enough courage to ask her to go to the dance,
Jody done got your girl and gone.
then now, old boy done got in her head so good. Now you ugly. Get away from me, ugly. You like, damn, you just hurt my feet. But see, I think again, if you have the dynamics of a father there, he can talk you through that shit.
Yep.
When you come home whining and crying, or he gonna tell you before, man, this tell you how you handle these little females out here. He ain't gonna tell you be out there wilding, but he gonna let you know, man, there's plenty more fish in the sea. Mm-hmm. You ain't got to cast your line in one pond because that's the only place you fishing at is a pond anyway. You ain't getting up but guppies until you get to that age. Like you said, now you taking them out and shit. You want to spend money and you realize like, damn, our pain said it earlier. You was allowed to be around her because you was offering her something. And if you wasn't offering her nothing, you ain't going to be around too long.
Right.
So
I think when your pop tell you there's more fish in the sea, I think he's probably trying to get you to get over it and don't turn into some super monster pimp.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because
Get over that shit, boy.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Red pill does exist now.
Man, gorilla pimping is old, man.
Yeah, it's old, but now they don't. There's no genteel perspective toward any empathetic perspective of having an analysis toward women. It's like motherfuckers now that they can call her into that abrasive accountability. You're gonna call all chicks into that accountability. It's like, wait a minute, there is a hierarchy as well.
It's some nuance, man. Here's my thing. There's always room for gentlemen, being a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? That's the classy and how you handle business. For the most part, you always want guys to be gentlemen. You don't want them to be rakes and rogues and savages. You know what I'm saying? Because savages ain't gonna do but continue on getting what we got right now. So that's why I was telling guys, when this thing turn and these ladies catch them L's, they gonna be looking for some gentlemen. They ain't gonna be looking for the savages because the savages got them where they at now. If they got any common sense, if they want to continue down the road, they're gonna continue down the road. So be it. But my thing is this: you don't have to be a savage. You just let the consequences catch up with them. You don't have to change who you are. But I think our dads knew to say, "Hey, you got your little heart broke, didn't you?" Oh yeah, he was letting us know that's common. Here's how you get over that. You know what I'm saying? And don't worry about that. That's just one. You probably have about one or two more. Then next thing you know, you get your feet up under you. And next thing you know, you understand these tricks and you understand your emotions and feelings and all this other stuff and make sure you subdue your flesh so you don't make no bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. That type of nuance is hard to explain to a younger adult male because he really don't understand the nuances until you actually get in it. You know what I'm saying? Until you actually have something to draw from, the wisdom to draw from. So most men already know you got to get in there and you got to get your hands on some stuff. Hands-on experience is the best experience for most people.
That is the property of game, though. That is the property of game, though. To be able to gain some experience and a little bit of skill set based off of the wisdom of another. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a reason why the lesson is delivered. So I wouldn't think that the older cat who's freshly to learning the game would be that foreign to it.
Right.
Yeah, and
he's seen the ramifications if you do it the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true that.
Hey,
true that.
Everybody's seen that dude. You know what I mean?
There's the highest efficacy motive you could take with it. True that.
And then, and especially think about this too, fellas. 15, 16, that's actually when we start, a lot of us get our growing spurts, right? Our face, we start to come into our face. We ain't got the buck teeth no more. Our teeth starting to change. It's like over the summer, you just changed up. You was 5'5", and then after June, July, August, September, you come back, you 6'2". That's like a superpower, right? Because now girls are looking at you and you like, man. Then you start learning by dealing with women how to be what we were just saying, the gentleman, the smooth guy, right? Most women nowadays, that type of a dude, they'll tell you, I don't trust you. You got an evil grin. There's something about you that they don't like that because the dude is so smooth with it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we make it look easy. But that comes from us building the confidence with the women that we end up being with. And especially if you was one of those dudes that always had conversations with women and you start understanding, oh man, like you ever seen a girl to be so, and this was like in teenage years, she was so enthralled with a dude and you be like, that dude, the ugly motherfucker, what is it about this dude that she like?
Charmed.
Then you find out, he got wit, he funny, he know how to talk to her, he know how to, I learned how to approach women, cold approach, right? Through the dudes that I seen. I was like, damn, that was kind of smooth how he did it. You know what I'm saying? We all have our own little thing. Wit was one of the things. Being funny. Women love a funny dude, but not trying to be funny. You got to make it look easy to them.
Yeah,
you got to, it's like the balance that you got to have when you're talking to them on, you tell a little bit about yourself, but then you ask them about them. Then it's kind of like the little volley that you can have with them.
They gonna tell you
but then you would have women, especially like we used to talk on the phone all the time. We didn't have this text shit. And when we used to talk on the phone, you would hear a woman say, "I can just talk to you all day. Your
Yeah,
voice
I
is
used to
soothing."
get. See this dude behind me, JT. He used to get that a lot.
Oh,
That
that's
dude
why
right
you
here
think I
used to
did
get that a lot.
That's that dude right there. That's him right
there. Yeah. He used to get that a lot. When he pulled up, y'all better grab your girl tight. You better grab her tight.
He was a smooth.
I think some of this is about like learning style as well. Like some people have the ability of learning from watching people, but all my life, I the only way for me to learn is to put my hands on to do this shit. That's the only way for me to learn. So like I said, in my early 20s, I did a lot of shit that did make sense because I had to bump my head a couple of times. That's the only way for me to learn. Because there were people that was around. They'd be like, "Look, let me tell you, nephew. Look here, nephew."
Okay.
All right, so when you go and say, like, you know what I'm saying? I did have that, and I heard what he said. It just didn't make sense. Like I remember one of my uncles talking to me about
it didn't make sense then, or did it ever sprout later on within life? Because it's never going to make sense, right?
A perfect example. I remember one of my uncles he was having a conversation with me about having unprotected sex and the pullout game, and I remember having that conversation with him and having an interaction with a female, and I knew what he was talking about, but until you get inside of there, you don't really know what he's talking about.
Right.
Till you get in there, like,
yeah, that's it right there.
I heard what he said.
Now I see what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I had to pull out.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Unfortunately, that
I can see how baby going back there.
My leg is shaking. My leg is shaking.
I don't know if I did it right, but we're going to find out.
I'll show me back again.
But there's some bullshit like that. Like I had one uncle, if I go talk to him, because he liked to make jokes and shit. He liked to play all the time. If I go talk to him and I tell him that same story, "Hey nephew, this is what you do. Next time you see her, you give her a Coke, put some baking soda in it, shake it upside down, and put a jelly out there." Man. Like, what you talking about? Like he just say some wild dumbass shit.
God damn. Hey, don't sleep on the car. It might work. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, at some point, you just going to have to, like you just said, it's going to be hands-on. You know what I'm saying? Because you get confused. You hear all these motherfuckers talking about some shit, man. You be like...
I had a wide range.
Now, he said baking soda or baking powder. Damn. Was it Pepsi or Coke?
Mama call you. This boy had messed up all my damn flowers.
What the baking powder?
You done fucked around again. I ain't tell you to do that, nephew. Now you done gave the twins, nephew.
You done baked my goddamn cake.
Covered in college shit all over the place.
But see, it all, those trial and errors help you down the road, though, for real. It's part of it being, you know what I'm saying, just something about those trial and errors. Listen, it's hard.
I'm going to sleep, guys. Good night.
I was ugly.
My man, all right, Aikane.
You know, and this is what I learned about, because I had 5 sisters. I had older and younger. So I saw the guys, how they treated my older sisters. And that's how I would come with my little game, let me get her a little rose, you know what I'm saying, and get her some, and I always had some gum or something. Let me, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to use one piece of gum, not that your breath stink, just so you can have some, but
just in case you don't give me some sugar, you know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you what Coach Ferg was. He was trying all his shit on his sister's friends.
That's what she said.
Hey, because you already know if you mess up, it's all right. I
had a sister, so I know.
Hey, boys, many times I'm spending the night. Oh, look. Hey, you sleep.
I'm about to take that shower right quick.
Come here.
Throw the Stetsons on. They be in the room. You like, what y'all doing over there? Get out of my room.
I mean,
hey, Felicia.
It's just part of the time. It's just part of it, man. And I because women would call me ugly. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get mad. I'd be like, yo, loss. You know what I'm saying? And I might have pouted when I walked away, but I was gonna show like, man, it didn't even faze me. My mama taught me that game. Like, boy, she told me this early. She said, boy, so many women out there, boy, you couldn't phantom. So don't worry about if you get turned down. That's part of it. Everybody, women got, how women got they types. They types. Me, I'll never give me a light skin, burnt black, blue, dark skin. I don't like the really light skin, almost white skins. They the ones messing up y'all little brown skin dudes. They got y'all flipping out, doing dumb shit. Stay away from them, brothers. Get you a brown skin, to a chocolate sister. She'll get you right. When y'all go to them little ones with the fake white hair, and they all they got like the Cardi B type. Stay away from them, man.
Hey, boy, you just doomed. Your future is done. You're done, son.
Stephon Diggs, boy, you living the life, boy. I can't wait till that crash, though, boy.
Yes, it's gonna make you crash too. You slow.
It's crazy because the landscape is a lot different right now, man. Because I just remember one of the things that I look forward to in high school was that it's just so many women that was filled out. Like it was like I remember being in the 6th grade and I was like, damn, I kept counting down the years I got left before I go to high school. And I'm telling you, it was everything I dreamed it to be. It was so much great. I started going to other high schools. I had to get into sports. I had to get into band. I got into everything that I seen where the women were. I was doing it. I was like, this is the most beautiful thing in the world. And high school I had a ball in high school, bro. All the way till my graduation. I loved it. I loved the women that was there. And that was when I had my growth spurt. My voice got deeper. It was like, oh, they actually like me. Like when you start seeing, it's one thing to have 1 or 2 girls that take a liking to you. It's another thing when girls really like you and you hear exactly what they all like about you. The smile, the voice, the way that you walk, if you can dance, it was just this is where that word swagger actually came from. That shit came from us, Black men. The way that we carry ourselves. It's just so happened that now a lot of these women like that thug dude with no personality now. So it's kind of like how that happen? Where the hell that come from?
Control thing, JT.
Oh yeah,
They
standing on the wall at the club became cool. Yeah.
And the tall dude didn't have to do shit but be tall.
Yep.
That's all. He could be tall and ugly. Somebody gonna like his ass. If he got a Letterman jacket on, it's a done deal, baby.
You know what, JT? I was watching this show, man, the other day, and they had a room full of guys. It was like an experiment. They had a room full of guys. All of them was different heights or whatever, and they put them in a lineup. And what it was, they was behind a 2-way mirror. So they brought in a bunch of women, right? So they was asking them, which ones would you date? And they was all trying to talk about dating the tallest dude. So they had a little Asian dude on there. Was like, oh yeah, he's the CEO. He's the blah blah blah. They was like, yeah, we don't care about all that, but he's short. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. So are you being tall outweighs being a millionaire?
Right, that's my thing. It's damn.
Come on. I'm like, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
And then have the expectations of him of the millionaire.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you. But you know what? Here's the thing. They would have been looking like, hey, if they had been the other way around, they had a whole bunch of fat women. They're gonna be all stunning, loving, and brave. You know, that's gonna be there. And then the guys start picking, well, which one of these you want? And the guy's like, I don't know about that.
Let me try my luck again. Give me another batch.
The guys would be the mean guys. You know what I'm saying? They'll be the bad guys then. You know what I mean? But since, they were discriminating against dudes that's tall. I guess the tall guys ain't stunning and brave. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, Lost? This is what women are kind of messing themselves up too, because they would tell dudes, and they doing all this eliminating and all of this shit. The guys are starting to do it now, but the guys are they're a lot more smoother with it. Like it hurts when they do it. They be like, nah, she's not really my type. That pop the balloon shit is it's catching on now.
Cold-blooded stuff, man.
These cats be cold-blooded with it. They be like, you just not my type. And now the guys are, because they learn, I can still be nice to you because they learn it from the women. See, but the women used to be nice when they was turning down dudes. Now it's dumb stuff that they talking about. I don't like his belt. He don't like his shoes. You know what I'm saying? He came in here. Yeah, you like, oh, okay. Y'all about to, let me tell you something. Dudes are very witty and smart. And they know what they doing when they get in your presence. Trust me when I tell you, y'all, they don't give I don't think black men get the accolades that they actually are deemed to have. But it's starting to change.
Like hell, man. I watched one of these shows. One of the brothers she was like, well, why'd you pop your balloon? He told he said, you really wouldn't, who I thought you were. I mistook you for somebody who had class.
That hurts. That's gonna hurt. What the fuck you mean, class?
I'm just looking for somebody who had class. I'm looking for somebody who my kids can be proud to call mom. And I'm sorry for wasting your time. You know what I mean? I'm
right. Right. I don't want to waste yours and my time. So this is, man. It's dudes are something different, man. Understand this. We learn. That's why I say you got to get your heart broken some way, somehow, right? Because you got to learn through the word no. You gotta you don't have to be used to it. You just got to understand that there's always a possibility that no is right there. So what you're trying to do is get as many yeses as you do no's, right? So what do? Your appearance, the way that you start talking. Like, I've heard dudes go from speaking broken English to having a hell of a dialect, bro. I'm talking about the cats done set back. And that's what we would see dudes do. We would see guys go like a damn caterpillar and just be at home or reading or going to school or do whatever they do. When they come back out, they ain't that same caterpillar. They end up going in that cocoon and gathering everything that they have to get. And when they come back out, guess what they end up being? The butterfly.
You know who turned into a butterfly? Right before our very eyes? Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
He sure did. Go back and watch some of Kevin's early stuff. Man, Kevin was a quintessential Pookie. You know what I'm saying? He was all rough around the edges, you know what I'm saying? Unsmooth. You know what I mean? By the time Kevin went through his transformation, you couldn't tell him nothing. Next thing you know, he had women like, Nicki Minaj wanting to talk to him, want to hold a conversation with him. You know what I mean? Because he had to go through a transformation, man. He had to talk to a whole bunch of women, and I can see exactly when it changed for him. He started talking about, I can tell you exactly when it happened. When he was talking to O'Shea Duke Jackson, and he had Sinful to P on the same show. That was when Kevin really took off. When he really made that change from being a square to being a polished man at that particular point in time. And now I was like, man, did some of that pimping jump off? Like like Venom.
Right.
Some of that Venom pimping jumped off of Sinful to P and jumped on the Kevin. Both of them passed away around at the same time too, man. I'm thinking to myself, man, that was some hellified Venom right there, boy. Yeah. And then go back and watch how he changed. All you gotta do is go back and watch, man. His vernacular changed when he started hanging around enough people and started listening. The world started to become real to him, and he was like, you know what? And then on top of it, he started talking to these women, and he was like, these really ain't about shit. They all think the same. They always say, well, we're all different. But watching him do that thing night after night, because I was a moderator for Kevin, man, and I was there every single night. I watched, and a little bit of naivete, kind of slipped away from Kevin by having conversations with these people, man. Women leaving their husbands because they had cancer. Women leaving their husbands because they put them through school, and now she thinks she's better than him. That type of stuff will do something to your mind, man. And then after a while, Kevin got to the point where he didn't give a damn no more. And then he started to make the change. He was like, look, we got to put the wheels back on this thing, man. Because now it's turning into a gender war that's getting out of hand. So I can tell where he was right about to make the change, because his last words was self-awareness is sexy. So making sure you understand who you were in the world and the thing that you offered everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just being a damn leech in somebody's damn life. You know what I mean? And I don't think he got a chance and opportunity to turn that thing now that he got everybody's attention. You know what I mean? So that's the main reason why we gotta continue doing what we got to do. Yeah, there's gonna be some sassy stuff that women say to us from time to time. You had to get over it, man, because you can't tell them to be quiet because they're gonna keep talking. But my thing is you can get smart in how you deal with them, you know, that type of thing. So that's the main reason why culture and class comes into play. You know, like putting your hands on an experience, you know, getting your heart broke, like we talked about earlier, that type of thing, and learning hands-on experience. Until you understand, it's one thing that I learned from Kevin is everybody ain't gonna qualify. And I think that was his major thing. The guys were talking about, worried about getting a certain girl. You don't want everybody, you know, and everybody shouldn't want you either, you know, especially where you going. So I think that's probably the major takeaway that we probably take away from when Kevin was here, you know, learning to make sure that everybody don't qualify for where you're going. And you got to get somebody that's going to be equipped and qualified to go where you need to go. Can they help you? You know what I mean? That type of thing. And not just being some damn boat anchor.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm glad I'm kind of through. I couldn't be through this whole dating game here right now, man, because I probably just been by myself. I ain't gonna even lie, because it's a certain caliber of women that I just have to be around. I can't be around that one that just talks sassy to me and stuff like that, or the one that wants to get me to argue with her and stuff like that. I avoid them. You know, my whole thing is that, you know, when you start talking about being able to understand that you have what they call the pick of the litter, you better find out what that pick of the litter is, homie, because it ain't everybody. It ain't everybody. And that's the thing. We be rubbernecking around and, you know, guys just want to talk to everything that looks good to him. One of the things that's a big turnoff, if you are very aware when you talk to women, listen to what they're saying.
Exactly.
Listen what comes out of here. I guarantee it. It's not going to be a whole bunch of women that you'll be sitting back giving your number to. It ain't going to be a lot of them. You're going to be like, all right, well, I'm about to get ready to get up out of here. What you about to do? If you actually pay attention to what they're saying, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a whole bunch of them that you're just going to be like, yeah, I can't deal with her. You know, it is what it is.
I told y'all, man, we wrestle not with flesh and blood. Sometimes we're dealing with the same demons. They just put on different skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All you gotta do is listen to what they talk about. Don't you like my outfit? All you got to offer me is pretty. Next. You know what I'm saying? You can be quick with that thing. Yeah, you look all right, but you ain't worth a damn.
Like old boy say, show me your best move. That's all you got? That ain't shit.
But here's the thing though, Loss, you know what I'm saying? And this is where it's always a unique perspective from brothers like you, JT, you know, BMU, brothers that speak in a sense that, you know, y'all speaking from a place almost like of self-love. You know what I'm saying? You love yourself over all that bullshit. Right. And again, a lot of brothers don't get that message because a father go teach you to love yourself and respect yourself, and you know what I'm saying, respect the name, respect certain things, and as you grow, you sort of own that. You know, you can always recall, man, you know, certain events, but it just gives you that confidence that sort of just allows you to sort of transcend through those issues with women. And a lot of brothers they figuring that out as they go because they've never had nobody to advocate for them. My father was the only one that dealt with me when I got on some bullshit at school or whatever. That was it. Only time if I was in the neighborhood or around the house, he just, boys, getting goons, and I'd be it. But if I was at school on some nonsense, he came to the school. He wasn't trying to hear shit I had to say. You better pray these teachers don't tell me nothing crazy. Are we going to the locker room? I never forget, I was in the class, man. I had on 3 pair of pants, about 4 shirts, everything. So I was like, man, if he get me, I'm going to be, but just that message that he was able to give me, riding in car loss, man, your father talking, you can't do numbers. Shut up, look out the window, respond. But then when you get to an age where you're like, okay, what they saying ain't really bad, you rocking with it. You know what I'm saying? You can cool with it. But a lot of brothers ain't got that. And this is where we are. They're adults now. They sort of repeating some of the same bad behaviors that they grew up with. They don't have relationship with their fathers, but they struggling with even communicating to brothers 5 and 10 years older are different because everything is so bad. They look at, I don't know, as a man, it's part of the transition and change sometimes. I used to tell students, look, take your teenage years, it's teenage years. Then when you get in your 20s, there's certain steps you have to take in your 20s. So when you get to your 30s and 40s, you're prepared for them. But if you miss those steps and you're trying to make it up in your 30s and 40s, that's going to set you back. So everything you can get in this time, you must get it. Especially, you know what I'm saying, a certain age. Because because again, there's always been single mothers in the neighborhood, but the mother focused on the children for the most part. It wasn't about her. If a mother had $300, everybody in the house ate. She might be the last one. A mother get $300 a day, she going to get a tattoo, some jeans, hair and nails. She going to do all the shit that add up to her. And the kid, what does he? What the baby got? They can't read. How's it that in our modern age, children are reading at the lowest level in any time in history? Tell me how that worked. The overweight. It was people overweight, but it might be far and few between. And if you were overweight, it was a hard fat. I'm talking about that hard fat where you hit it like a brick wall. Now they got rolls in the front and the back. And it's one thing when you get old, you're going to gain weight naturally. But when you're in the prime of your life, you got health issues just from a lack of blood circulating. How can you, as a young person, how can you get out of that mindset? Because your parents ain't going to let you go. One thing I know is they'll kick the daughters out and hold on to that son until he's no longer an asset. Now he's just a nigga on her nerves. Now he's just pushed out with no leadership, no direction. So it's a scary place, man. I feel for you, 100 watts, man. Hopefully you can navigate through it with your peers, man, and y'all can come out on the best side. But the world is y'all's now, man.
Nah.
So
I'm doing everything I can for my kids because anybody my age is niggas not assimilating. Niggas my age is not. It don't feel like trying to adjust in a way to where it's gonna make a difference. So to me, in my opinion, it's my kids and one after that. So in a sense, you know what? I'll agree with you in the sense of I'll agree with you in the sense of depending on what we do with our kids. So yeah. I hear what you're saying. So I'll agree in the sense of that. Depending on what we do with our kids, because TikTok is
a monster. Yeah.
Disgusting.
It's something else, man. Trey Ferg, I brought this picture up for a reason, man.
Man, you want to make shit out of my shirt, man.
Listen, that was just accident, man. Listen, let me explain to you. Let me explain to you what we really trying to do, man.
Yeah, I like that too. That go with my shirt for real.
There you go. Listen, this is the I think it's called Kitajutsu. It's the Japanese art of repair. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to take brothers, man, and put them back together. You know what I'm saying? And taking that little wisdom, that gold thread that's weaved in between them and packaged back and putting them back together. You know what I'm saying? Because earlier you was telling me that self-love was one of those things that, you know, you saw in us thinking about teaching brothers. It's not so much as to be self-loving to hold on to it for yourself. It's for you to repair yourself long enough. That way you can take what's inside and you save that love and you'll be able to pour it back out. That's the only way we're going to be able to fix this, man, is through love. Yeah, we clown and act a fool from time to time or whatever. But the ultimate goal is this, is to repair people, get them back to where they need to get to. You know what I'm saying? Even though they may be cracked, even though they may be scarred. I heard an old church song say, a part of wants to put you back together again. Well, that's for us to go back and contain the love that we already have so we can give back to our families, get back to our communities, and get back to our countries. So that way we can actually hold on to it later. Because you can't give love if you can't hold on to it yourself. And that's the main reason why we teach guys to make sure you love yourself, fix yourself, you know what I mean, and patch yourself back up. And from time to time, you had to borrow wisdom from guys like us and from other guys. And that wisdom is those little gold veins that you see in the pottery that fixes you and puts you back together. So never forget, that's the main reason why we're here. You'll see people who will act a fool and don't agree with what we agree with. But the ultimate goal is this, is to put folks back together again so they can give out the love to somebody else. Because it's not about holding on to it. It's about giving it back out.
Absolutely.
For shit, man, for sure. That's amen.
You definitely have to give it.
That's
You
right.
got, especially, man.
What's the point of holding on to it for, man? You know?
Especially when you talk about that, what we call love. That shit does not look like what people think it's supposed to look like. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. At the beginning. If you ain't used to it, especially when you have someone, sometimes you got to get scolded sometimes. Sometimes somebody had to sit you down and say, nah, the way that you're thinking is all the way wrong. And they explain to you why. That's why when we get to talking about, when you hear dudes, and I like to talk to young men about their correlation with young women, because I see where my generation went wrong, right? Or not even went wrong. We probably lacked. Everybody living, you know what I'm saying? It's not so much as who's at fault. It is what it is, right? So when you have a lot of guys that's out here and we can look at the power that we have right now, and that's to reach one another, and we don't have to just have you in our living room. We can literally reach out to one another, man, through this thing called internet now. It's a dope thing. And that's what we call love. That's a part of being at a point where you can steer somebody as close to the right direction as possible. But you can only give them what you got, right? You only give them what you can offer them. And that's basically what we do. As men, even when I talk to young women, I kind of try to keep that to my, tend to just for my daughters now. Because it's too... or my little female, nieces and nephews and cousins. I would rather talk to them. It hits home a little bit better, you know what I'm saying? Because I can reach out and touch them. When you're on this internet and you're trying to talk to strange women and even some strange men, I don't have the bandwidth to go back and forth and try to talk to someone and have a real conversation, right? Because if you notice, our conversations don't always, the questions we ask are not actually questions that's going to be comfortable sometimes. It's going to be uncomfortable sometimes when somebody reaches, and then it gets us to think. Sometimes that's why it's good to have a panel, right? You ask the question, somebody is saying what they're saying, but we are all thinking about what they're saying, what it is that, we're conjuring up all these different things. And then we come with our ideology of it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we can go right back, especially if you can go back and look at all this stuff that's documented now. You be like, damn, if I go back 2 years ago, I'm going to tell you some things that I was saying 2 years ago, I don't subscribe to anymore. Right? So that's the dopest thing about what we're doing. This is more than a think tank. This is more than just us having conversation. This is something that's actually documented where we can go back and listen to ourselves. The hardest thing for a person to do is to listen to themselves back. You got DJs that'll tell you that. You got people that do news, broadcasters. They would say that. It's a little bit different when you hearing yourself back, right? But you take that uncomfortableness and then you make it comfortable to hear yourself. That way you can formulate your thoughts a lot better. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like being concise, being straight to the point, especially if you're at, you can get with somebody and y'all can have a back and forth. It should be invited. This is why it's great to have panels now, because you don't have to have everybody talking over each other. One mic. We didn't adopt that shit some years ago, bro. You go to family, gatherings and shit, and people get to talking. Everybody talking over each other. Oh, you got about 10 damn different conversations when you're supposed to have a group conversation, but ain't nobody listening to nobody because they all just want to get their thoughts out. Now we're starting to learn how to deal with that, because guess what you got to do? You can't listen to everybody. You can only listen to one person. Mm-hmm. And then you got two people that's volleying that shit. Sometimes we sit back, let them have it out. Frustration and all that shit. Sometimes you just got to let that shit happen, right? Until it gets to a point where people just start calling each other out their names. Now it ain't a conversation no more. That's when you cut the shit. But when you got some deep conversations, I love to have it with young folks and older folks, because it tells us where we went wrong when we're listening to the young folks. It tells the young folks where they're at right now, that they may be thinking wrong also. So it helps both kind of move a little bit better, a little smoother when we have the conversation in good faith. That's the difference. Having it in good faith is that's,
Yeah, I'm glad you said something about good faith, because you get comments like this and be like, the men have failed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shit like that.
That Lady D.
Facts.
Let us cook, man. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, it took y'all 50 years to tear this thing up. Give us at least a little bit of time to fix this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let us cook. Hey. That's all I'm saying, man.
We gotta look towards the younger folks, man, and start doing it. Because I'm telling you right now,
you gotta reach back, man, and prepare the next crew.
Yeah, I'm always be there, but I'm telling you,
looking at the younger to do what?
True, they're gonna have to
help get this shit together.
Just like, think about it, we have to fix the part that we messed up, and then we got to teach them, hey, don't do what we did.
See, if you have kids,
here's what you look for. Don't do what we did.
But if you have kids, you don't want them to keep remaining in a world that's declining in thought. So you got to just have to do what you just do your due diligence. You know what I'm saying? It takes all of us to be able to pitch in. We can't wait for somebody to come and save. Ain't nobody saving you. It ain't never going to happen.
Ask you a question, man. Do you think our parents raised us for back then, or for a future back then, or did they raise us for a future right now?
Nobody ready for right now.
Yeah,
you right. Know how many times growing up I used to get told, turn them games off, you're gonna be stupid playing them games. Look how many motherfuckers is making millions of dollars playing Xbox right now.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? I have a YouTube page that's from 15 years ago, my G. And all the time, why you in there doing them videos? Get the fuck off of the computer. 15 years ago. If I would have stayed consistent on my shit from then, I bigger than Castanet by this point, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Beast who type shit. There was no foresight into any of what was happening in front of us. Like these are the same people that was thinking Y2K, the internet gonna shut down, the world gonna blow up, the robots gonna take over in 2000.
Yeah.
Hell no, no.
But here's the thing, they couldn't see it, right? Well, guess what? We can.
But here's the problem, though. I do think that my generation is kind of swinging the pendulum too far the other way. Because now these kids are coming out with iPhone 14s.
Yeah.
These kids are coming out with iPads in their hand. So at first, but see, here's the thing. In a way, it is okay. Cool. Now you have the advancement into technology, but now, like, I'm looking at schoolwork. They don't really have to show their work on math work no more, for real. Like you don't have to show your work no more. Do you know how damaging that is? Like niggas don't even have to explain how they came up with something. There's no problem solving skills. When you do that, you're taking away their problem solving skills. All of the decision making, you're taking it out. You're completely taking it out. Like kids don't. There are some schools where kids don't even have notebooks, textbooks, or anything. It's just a tablet or a MacBook or a Chromebook or something like that. These niggas don't even have pencils no more, my G. The school supply, some of these schools, the school supply list is just a bunch of shit that gives to the teacher so she can write on the board or some tissues and Kleenex and shit. Like the technology is cool, but it's being swung too far. That's why you're seeing 12-year-old kids on TikTok doing routine bullshit dances all fucking day because we swinging it too far. So the swing, I don't know where the middle is.
Let me explain to you what you're looking at and where that came from. When me and Trey Ferg was in school, they had these big, huge rooms that we had to go to at the beginning of the school year. We picked up our books. Then we Trey Ferg.
Yeah, you had to go pick up your books.
Hey. And then sometimes there were some students who didn't have books because we didn't have enough. You know what I mean? So every now and then we'll have to trade and somebody will miss out or whatever. We had so many books, so much stuff. Sometimes, man, it was bad on kids' back, walking around with all them books or whatever. And we started thinking back then, what if we could put everything on the tablet? It'll make it so much easier. And then when we want to change the curriculum, we just upload something. But they still know how to operate the tablet. The tool itself is not a substitution for thinking. It's to make your job a little easier. And I think what happens is people like to sometimes use technology as a crutch instead of letting it aid you in your creativity. That's the main reason why they did that, because a tablet will outlast those physical books if they get damaged, or if somebody loses one and the parents, they have to pay for it. At the end of the year, when you graduated from college or high school or whatever, not so much as college because most of those people kept their books. But in high school, if you didn't turn all your books in, you didn't graduate. You know what I'm saying? You got a bill, buddy, you can't graduate. Well, kids don't have to worry about that no more. They'll have that same tablet they have from the 9th grade all the way until they get to the 12th grade. And they don't have to worry about none of that.
Yeah. And turn it in with a cracked screen. You're not getting your diploma. If that screen cracked, you're not getting your diploma.
They make them pay for their own stuff. That's not borrowed by the school.
What you mean?
You pay for your own stuff. They're not handing out textbooks anymore.
No, I know that. I mean, just
and sometimes they use Chromebooks. As long as you got access to the internet, you good.
Yeah,
So I say that to say this is that you're right. They don't show their work. Now, when I was in school, they got mad at me for not showing my work. I would have loved to been in school today because I hated showing my work. Because I'm like, I got the answer, man. Let me go on about my business. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we want to make sure we compete, because the way that we do math here is different how they do in China. I'm like, you ever seen people do Chinese math? And it's so much faster, so much easier. I'm like, damn, you ain't even got to think. You ain't got to pull out the fingers. Pull out, I ain't got to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you get to the answer, that's what matters, And that's how I look at it. Because think about it, man. These kids' attention span is short. And I think it's done like that for design. You know what I mean? But some lessons you take with you, some lessons you ain't gonna learn until it happen.
I don't easily subscribe to that. Just because you got to the answer, because them shortcuts, man. I understand that. I understand that there are going to be parts in life where you might have an advantage or whatever. Right. Cool, I understand that. But I'm just trying to knock out my kids thinking that life is about to be a bunch of shortcuts. Ain't none of this shit about to come easy to you, big dog. Like, you will have to earn all of it. So I do think it is important to be able to see how you came to your answer. And that could be That could be in anything, in math, in writing, in storytelling, anything. You need to
Let me
be
ask you
able
this:
to
do they
explain how
teach
you
your
got your
kids cursive
Say
writing?
again?
Do they still teach your kids cursive writing?
They brought it back. They had took it out for a while, and they
The
brought
two
it back.
that I have, the two that I have of that age are writing in cursive.
Okay, good. Because like Trey Ferg talked about earlier, they took that out for a minute. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they took that out for a minute.
And basically, what in cursive basically is for us is for us to sign our name.
Yeah,
That's our fingerprint.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It still was needed. Sometimes people.
It's always gonna. I think it's always gonna be needed. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes the educators don't always get it right, man. You know what I mean? They change the curriculum up all the time.
Yeah.
Based upon what the needs of the future is. You know, when we were coming up, computers was the thing to teach us on. And hey, this is what's coming. Computers. That's what they taught us, computers. And that's the reason why we got the explosion that we have now. Well, guess what? The next thing is crypto. Next thing is AI. We don't know what's coming down the pipe. You know what I mean? But we know we got to be flexible. But at the end of the day, we can't stop being humans. So there's still certain aspects of humanity we still have to pass on. Just like most of these guys, they don't walk up to girls like me and Trey Ferg used to do back in the day and ask them for their phone number. Now they just ask for the IG. You know what I'm saying? You got an IG, baby.
Kids will never understand the 8th grade dance where you got the paper and the pencil and you got to write the shit down. These niggas will never understand having a call before Mom Dukes answer the phone. Like you got to call before her daddy get off work type shit. They will never understand that.
Man, for sure.
They will never understand that.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think...
Just go ahead.
No. I was asking, do you think kids need to learn how to use a rotary phone now?
Hell yeah. Shit, little slow ass will be done some shit.
Man, they would lose their mind if they had to use a rotary phone, man.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna grab
it. Bring back the telephone book and make them go to the Dewey Decimal System. They'll get them together.
My oldest know as soon as she get on bullshit, her tablet, her iPhone, all that shit gone. We can take you back to the Nokia flip phone. As she already know. As soon as you on that bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I just thought about?
Because I think it would be more irritating for her to have to go to school with that motherfucker rather than not having a phone at all.
Yeah, most definitely. You ain't in the crowd. You can't do what everybody else is doing. It's a lot different. But we also, with the use of technology, we have to also be able to have the maintenance of it, right? Because this is where your jobs are going to. Mostly everything that you deal with, one of the things that you ain't going to ever have to worry about is that they're going to get rid of mechanics. You're always going to have a mechanic. You're always going to have an engineer. You're always going to have someone that's going to be putting walls up. It's just going to be different ways on how they're going to be doing it. You got to be able to know how to operate these things, right? You're always going to have someone that's going to be doing some form of construction or, being able to, like what you guys were saying about math, showing your work. Being an engineer, you don't have to, because there's a process. You have to understand what the process comes from, right? Being a carpenter, you have to understand where the process comes from because you're doing things on a more macro type of level, right? Even being a physician or even a nurse, there's some form of measuring. There's some form of, that you got to use numbers and processes and formulas and things like that. That's why calculus is still, very needed. That's why trig is still needed, geometry and all of those different things. Because if you did everything by just multiplications and adding, it'll take you forever to solve a problem, won't it? So now we just have to make sure that, again, older folks, younger folks, we have to be able to talk to one another so we can help each other move in where we at. That's where it comes down to. So when you were saying that people were, grandma or whoever it is, father or whatever, they couldn't see what you seen because they wasn't grown up in that. They couldn't see that, if a gamer, right? I did. I seen what they can make. I was like, shit, when I started looking, because guess what I used to own? I used to own a console myself. But I also have kids. I also have, little nephews and nieces and, You know what I'm saying? And you get to see what they're doing. It's the same thing with me being a DJ. I started out doing DJing with ones and twos with vinyl. Now look at it. Shit went to a computer. I got thousands of records and songs. Guess where they at? Little bitty external drive, right? Then I had to learn how to use all this damn technology that's here. 50-something years old.
Yeah,
I'm doing
took my side hustle. That was the easy side hustle. You
But doing
show
what
up at
we
a
doing
club
right here.
and help a DJ carry some shit in, get a quick little $20, nigga. Fuck you.
Yeah, I used to pay $50 for somebody to help me grip. You know what I'm saying? But as technology grew, I'm like, shit, I'm not about to carry all them damn records no more and them big ass speakers and all that shit no more. And I changed the way that I looked at things. I ended up, even when it came down to promoting certain venues and stuff like that, I didn't have to do the whole thing with the flyers and stuff like that no more. I had my own platform. So guess what I can do? I can broadcast from there. I can, send everybody different types of stuff on their social media and stuff like that. Flyers, people still use it, but it's not as needed as it used to be.
I do think what you're explaining is a good use of the technology, right? Because even with the technology, you still had to be creative in the flyer you made. You still had to be creative in the people you spoke to when you were sending your flyer out. You still had to be creative about the songs that you chose when you did your set, whether you had records or you had the computer.
Yep.
But the part that I'm trying to avoid is a DJ showing up to a club and using AI to put his set together. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
That's fucked up right there.
See what I'm saying?
Now you got as a jukebox, right? So that's where it comes down to pride. That's where it comes down to, stand. That's right. Holding the line. No, what are we trying to do? Are we just trying to, what I'm saying? Because people take pride in their art, right? It's the same thing they were saying about sports, right? Eventually, we just gonna have a bunch of robots doing. You're like, what? That's gonna be bland and boring, right? What are we talking about? We gonna have to hold the line somewhere. It's one thing about utilizing technology to make our lives better. It's another thing to have technology to substitute humans and human things with all of this artificial intelligence. And that's where I think it's the overcorrection. And then it's going to be something totally different. So I definitely agree with that.
Artificial intelligence is good, but real intelligence is even better. Let me explain to you what happened to me the other day, man. I was talking to a friend of mine on TikTok, and she was talking to her son, and they were talking about AI versus Google, and she was trying to get him to use AI. He was like, well, Google is just much faster. You can do this and do that. And then she was like, well, what about, simple questions like, why is a pumpkin orange? And I was like, beta carotene. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then they were just talking for the next 10 minutes. I was like, I had to answer as soon as you told me what it was.
You have to look it up.
I'm faster than Google. Hell, I'm older than Google. So I'm supposed to be faster than damn Google. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, how did you know that? Because I know, because I read. You know what I'm saying? I'm much faster than computers. I just can't type as fast as a computer, whatever, but I can think faster.
And you got a personality.
Sometimes when I have conversations with people, I'll be like, hey man, get to the point. I already figured this out 20 minutes ago, man. You're holding us up. That's how I am sometimes. And I have to make sure I slow myself down. But at the same time, there's a certain artistry, as JT said it, in the delivery. Sometimes you have to get your cadence down right to grab attention, to paint a picture in somebody's mind. And I think painting that picture in somebody's mind is probably a better use of the imagery inside that person's mind to reveal a certain beauty. And I think that's what we have to get back to and not lose sight of what you were saying, 100 Watts. You're absolutely correct. They should show their work. They should understand where they came from so they make sure that they know it. Because there's a certain genius that comes with that, because that's duplicatable. You know what I'm saying? Being able to show your work is duplicatable, and you can teach somebody else the same thing. You know what I mean? So but at the same time, you're right. You can still use certain things to move it along. You know what I mean? But you're absolutely right, though.
I'm sorry to take y'all all over the place. Talking to y'all, it brings a lot of random questions to me.
So if my son is 6. My son is 6. So y'all were talking about their age, 10, 14, the impressionable part, right? Should I be teaching my son to be a jack of all trades or a master of a craft?
You know what you should do? You should teach him how to be creative. Teach him how to solve problems.
Just
be a professional problem solver. That's what you teach them. Because no matter what problem they come up against, it's like earlier we talked about showing your work. If you have a process in which you are able to break down a particular problem and a process in which you know how to solve it, you become a professional problem solver. You know, you ever hear a lot of women say, well, I don't get paid what I deserve. Well, you know, you don't get paid what you deserve. You get paid for the problem you choose to solve for others. You know what I'm saying? Everything solves a problem. Your watch solves a problem. Your car solves a problem. Your monitor on your computer solves a problem. Your glasses solve a problem. Everything created solves a problem.
No,
So
lady did.
if you want to get rich and you want to make it, become a professional problem solver. That's what we do. That's what he hires you to do, to be a problem solver.
He's gonna develop that jack of all trades based off of him growing, right? If it's something that he wants to do, one of the things you have to teach him is that he has to follow through with it, right? Because it's going to be a lot, man. You talk about my grandson is 5, and man, he's growing so, you know, they mind be going so doggone fast, and they're growing. The only thing you have to do is kind of just guide them at that time, right? You get them to go and then observe them being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because them being a kid, it's a part of their development. Look at the problem. If it's a problem that's in front of them, let them solve it.
Oh, yeah.
Just look at them sometimes.
There's a motto in my house, and I say it loud and proud. It's figure it the fuck out.
Figure it out.
Like they'll be arguing with each other, and they'll come, Daddy. Nope. Figure it the fuck out. I'm going somewhere. Figure it the fuck out. But yeah, no.
Now when they come to a lot of this is it's
some
freestyle, because
no.
when they come to a problem where, when they come to a point where it's like a stalemate, you know what I'm saying? This is when you have to use your creativity sometimes. And one of the things is that you bring the problem in front of them so they can, you have to just lead them to be able to think, right? Was that, you was talking to, your sister or your brother, and you said this. Now, do you think that was right for you saying that? And they'd be sitting there looking, they'd be thinking, and then they eventually are going to give you an answer. And you have the conversation with that whole set. Because you're still going to have them to figure it out. What you're doing is just leading them to it. But that's your imagination on how, because you know how your kids are, right? You know, pretty much, and you're learning your kids. So it's just because they think their brain is a lot faster than ours. Their brain, that's why we have to be young when we having kids. Yeah. We have to be like the age you are right now is a great time to have a 6, 5, 7-year-old because your mind is right there. Can you imagine being 60 and 70 years old and you sitting there trying to get them to shit? Your mind ain't working as fast as theirs, but yours is, because you're right there. You're in that sweet spot of life. So it's your imagination on how you see fit. When you are observing them going through what they're going through, let that shit happen as long as you can let it happen. And when you don't see shit happening with that, that's when you intervene in there. That's why it's very important to be the dad in those senses, man. It's just something that we got, man, that I'm telling you, being a dad, I ain't just talking about, I'm talking about a dad. Cause it's kind of like winging this shit. And then when they get older, then you're going to get older, and you're going to, every step that they go through, you're also, growing up too. You're still growing up. That was one of the things I always said. Coach Ferg and Loss heard me say this. The dopest thing in the world that life showed me was to see my parents grow up, and I'm also seeing my kids grow up. And now I got a bonus to see my grandson grow up. Your parents, while you're growing up, and then your kids, And now you have something that's grand, that's even further down, and you seeing how all of this is developing.
Mm-hmm.
Answer is going to be right there, bro. This is a beautiful thing that life shows us, bro. It's a beautiful thing. We just have to pay attention to what it's showing us.
100 watts.
Go ahead, Frey.
I was going to say 100 watts. Ask that question again.
Which one should he be, a jack of all trades or a master of one?
He's going to be everything that you're interested in if you introduce him to it. It doesn't matter what if you. Does he know how to climb a tree?
He's been coddled a certain way. When he get over to the other side, he's been coddled in a certain way.
Okay. Do you know how to climb a tree?
Yeah, something like that.
You know how to hold on, don't you?
Yeah. I ain't much of a tree climbing nigga, but I can.
No, I'm just saying. I ain't saying go to the top of the tree. Yeah, when we was climbing trees, we go to maybe 5 or 6 big branches, and we call it climb a tree. So everything that you're interested in, that you introduce him to, he may or may not take a liking to it or an interest.
But he know how to do it.
However, as long as he's introduced to it, then he can decipher how far he wants to go. And then there's going to be things that he discovers on his own based off what he may have been introduced to. Because remember, y'all years apart, right? So he's looking to see the things that you do. When my son was, I'll say maybe 5 or 6, right? I said, man, I want to make sure my son know how to read. So I started reading out loud. and then by 3rd grade, he had to read everything to me. I don't care. And it ain't about the level, because words he couldn't enunciate, we would circle them, go to the dictionary, look up the word, because I keep a dictionary about that thing. He find the word, then we'll read the definition, which if it had 3 definitions, we read all 3, maybe a little sentence, right? And he may not necessarily know how to spell it, but when he hears that word, he know what it means. And then every other word, well, whenever I was, let me see. So when I was reading materials and stuff, I used to always read out loud because the story comes together to me better. And most of us, when we read it out loud. So I would have him read out loud. And again, he ain't looking for no 100% perfection, but read it. And then after so many sentences, I'm going to stop. What did you just read? What did you hear?
That's the part. That's the part right there.
But again, that 10 that 10 or 15 minutes. You can't get them to read 42 minutes straight. You find it's so much material. Get him some 3rd grade books and just practice with them. Because everything that you're interested in, that you introduce him to, he's going to try it. Now, the master of all things, the more he's introduced to, the more he may master. See what I'm saying? And he may not have to master one, because today you have to be a jack of all trades today. It saves you money.
Well, it's also, reading is a mug, but it's also this too, Trey. With kids, especially once they start getting with your son, going to the 1st grade, 2nd grade, 1st grade. Yeah, my grandson going to the 1st grade, so they're getting ready to start reading and comprehension. Let me tell you one of the things I learned with my kids was when they started reading, it was fun to them. So you know what they used to do in the back seat when I'm driving? Read all the signs. Yep. I know what that say. That say Lexington. I know what that say right there. And they're sounding it out, and they'll do that all the way through. And then they just everything that they can get, a label, it says, and you would start seeing that. That's when you start encouraging it. That encouragement right there is, again, with Coach Ferg, what you're saying, the books. Once you start getting them to read the books, and now you ask them certain words, right? And then you start talking about the definition of the word. What that mean? What does this mean? What does that mean? And you have the conversation with them. They don't even think they learning. That's just what it is with them. Then second grade comes, it gets a little bit easier because second grade is kind of tough for a lot of kids when they don't have that, because they are expected to read and comprehend by the time they get in second grade. And that's where you will see a lot of kids having their problems at second and third grade. So when you got like what you were just saying, that whole thing of jack of all trades and stuff like that, and mastering, that comes with development. All of that's coming with development because by the time they're in the sixth grade, they probably already inventing some shit. Especially now that we got all this computer shit and all that, they might be able to know how to they're going to be making apps and all kind of shit. So they're going to be learning by happenstance how to read. So that's where it is. It's what you expose them to. Everything that you expose them to, that's what they're going to catch on to. That's just how that goes. That's crazy.
To answer your question,
that was a great question.
Yeah. People pay for specialization. You know that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's part of what, because I understand both sides of it. If you can master one thing and you've been in this thing for 15, 20 years, that has a value. But there is also a value in being able to do more things than one. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's just
there are things that you make your living from, and then there's things you make a career from.
I can tell you right now, I'm one of those jack of all trades type of a guy. One thing that I'm really good at, I can lawn care, right? I'm really good at it. You see my lawn, you see how green it is, you see how my, how my bushes look and all of that stuff. And I do it effortlessly, right? I was exposed to it. My father had a lawn care service. And so I was at 8 years old out there working with him. I was sitting there riding at 8 years old. I'm riding a rider mower. I'm cutting grass with the lawnmowers and all of that stuff, self-propels. I'm weed whacking. I'm doing all of that stuff. By the time I was 8, 9 years old, I was already doing all of that stuff. So as an adult, that's just, that's like second nature. And I don't even do it, but it's just something that I'm good. My neighbors be looking, they be like, wow. When I first moved to my house, they were like, damn, how did he get all that shit cleaned up? I had to cut down bushes and trees and all kind of shit. It was effortless to me. I like doing it. I like being outside cutting grass and shit like that.
Hunter Watts, I'll give you an example of what you're talking about. I know how to do a lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff I usually do is to save me money. I think the last time I went to a barbershop was probably in 92 when I got my own clippers. I've been cutting my own hair ever since. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can cut other people's hair, that type of thing, but I don't do it for a living. It's just a skill that I have. You know what I mean? It's just a skill that I have. But
it's a great hustle.
Because this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm good at it. Not very many people are good at what I do, And also, I'm going to give you another example too, man. Certain things you learn along the way, a skill, and you may not need it anymore. I used to go to the dog track all the time, man, and I used to be watching people bet on dogs, whatever. I got to the point where I got so good, I was calculating foot-pound per square inch. So I would know which dogs was coming in, which dogs really had a legitimate chance of winning. I make buku money, but see, guess what? They don't run dogs no more. So that skill, I can't use no more. I use it in horse racing from time to time. Trey Ferg, I told you I did win my race. You know that, don't you?
Man, no, okay.
Go back and watch.
I didn't even bet, man. So I'm jealous.
Yeah,
you won the derby. You won the derby.
Yeah, Churchill sent me my check, man. But that's a skill, like I said, man. That no longer exists, even though I still had it. You know what I mean? But my thing is this: you have to make sure that whatever it is your kid wants to do, you have to help them to discover it. Expose them to as much stuff as you can, because that purpose will reveal itself. And how you know that that purpose is what they're supposed to do is how bad does it bother them. You know what I mean? If they have to wake up every single morning and say, you know, I can't wait to get out of bed to solve this problem, that's their purpose, man. You know, that's the main reason why we tell kids to figure it out, to get them in the habit of discovering things for themselves. Trey Ferguson tell you back in the day, man, we used to memorize poems and stuff when we was in high school. And we were talking about tonight's topic was figure it out for yourself. And I remember a poem that we used to have to memorize. And it was like, figure it out for yourself, my lad. You've had all the greatest that men have had: 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and a brain to use if you be wise. With this equipment, we all began. So start at the top and say, I can. And that's one of the things, man, we could all learn from. Everybody has the same equipment. It's what you do with it, man, that makes the difference. You know, be creative, man. Take time out to unwind and unplug. You know, find out exactly what bothers you so you can discover your purpose. That's the greatest thing a father can teach a child, is to help them to find their purpose early in life. So that way they can navigate and get better at it. And they can get specialized for it.
That's
Hey, fellas, I'm about to get up out of here, man.
Hey, find a park, man. Listen, they ain't around no more, but listen, we are kids of the seesaw area and the merry-go-round, right?
And that hot slide.
And remember that the one that had the big old coil spring, and you had to hold on and you rock, and we kids from that area, right?
Yeah.
So listen, too bad that y'all didn't get the chance to experience it, and the kids today definitely need it, because it knocks out all your ADHD, all your deficiencies will get knocked out on that merry-go-round. With me running around the merry-go-round to get you going, you're gonna develop a strong grip.
I can't even find it no more. I'm too. Look, I done got hurt so many times on that and the seesaw. Somebody jump off that damn seesaw, your ass fly up in the air. I mean, fall
Even
down.
on that other motherfucker, I done seen plenty of kids be rocking that shit, and then they lean back and let that motherfucker go.
Let me tell you before we get out of here. Let me tell you one of the things I did that was dangerous as hell, and I damn near killed myself. Swing.
Yeah,
the swing. The tall one too, right?
Yeah.
I went around that mug one time.
Gravity.
Standing up. That's the only way you can get around it. Standing up.
Boy.
With my
we ain't had no fear,
ass,
man.
I damn near killed myself. When I tell you that thing came down and it yanked like that, I fell off, man.
JT was like, and I
fell off.
Down.
So y'all standing. I had no look, I'm falling, but I can't, you know what I'm saying? Bro, when I fell face and stomach first. Knocked the wind out myself. But I was so scared I was gonna get in trouble.
Come on, man.
I was so scared I was gonna get in trouble, bro. I jumped up, right? I was so lightheaded. I had gravel in my doggone face. I chipped my tooth. I had a big old scar, bro. I messed myself up, and you know the people that was there. It was some teenagers that was there too. Yeah. They was encouraging me to do it. They came over there. I was like, I'm okay, bro.
I'm gonna stick to doing flips off of the green box, big dog.
I hurt myself, bro, so bad where I don't even get on swings no more. I'm that shit right there.
And you didn't tell your parents? Did you tell your parents that
shit? I didn't tell them that story. I just told them that I fell off the swing because I had the gravel. You know, it cut my face was messed up, and I had a chipped tooth. So they had to, but yeah, I told them I just said I fell off the swing. They didn't know. By the time they found out, all the crying and all that shit was over with, dog. They just see me. I was talking, and my daddy was like, Open your mouth. He said, smile. And I smiled. I smiled. And he was just like, what the hell happened to your tooth? That's how I got my tooth. I had a chipped tooth, man. Because my dumb ass did that shit. Them damn teenagers had geeked me up so well. I was like, I'm getting around this goddamn swing. They were like, go, little boy, go. Look at him. Look at him. Came around, boom. I didn't hear shit. I probably was knocked out for a little while, y'all.
You had a concussion and didn't even know
I couldn't catch my breath, man. It took me a long time to catch my breath.
I was sitting there thinking that you were so afraid to get an ass whooping. Your body found.
I was scared. I had a homeboy Zany. He got hit by a car, and he didn't tell his mama. He had broken fingers. The car ran over him. It didn't. You know how a car hit you, but the guy hit the brakes. The guy hit the brakes, and he thought that he thought he already had ran over Zany. And he just kept on going. You know, he was like, then he let him off the brakes, and he ran over Zany, and he broke his fingers. Zany did not tell his mama. It took the teacher the next day because his fingers was all crooked. Took the teacher. We wasn't telling our parents that shit, man. He had no business because we was out there. You know how you playing, and you in the street. He ran in the street, man.
This story is crazy, man. You got the wildest stories.
And I'm pretty sure the dude that ran him over didn't have no license because he was like, "You all right, little man?"
Trying to fix it back up.
He trying to fix his fingers. Like, y'all get him home.
JT. What's wrong, okay?
When I came down.
That was me.
I'm trying to make you understand.
That was me. That was.
Oh shit.
That was me. When I came down.
It's crazy, man.
Oh man.
Stories, man. I can't listen.
I would never get on the swing again and do no shit like that.
There you go. Well, on that note, man, we finna get up out of here, man. Off easy. Hit the like button, subscribe, share. Thank you. Yeah,
Appreciate
good night.
y'all, man. Peace.
Peace out.